Wait,
I want to see what happens if I see an op. I give it some of this. What happens, mate?
Well, become bless Hunky into the Covenant.
Yep. Where is he? Right. You know what? I'm actually in the mood for a bit of RP right now. Let me sit up.
Stand before the altar. Everyone stand around Hunky. Here he is. Oh my god, look at that RP, man. That's a fusion raider right there.
Beautiful. Stand in front, please, my lord.
Look at his trim.
Holy sh**. The light has not blessed him. Right, he needs the light right now. Lay your eyes
He needs the light right now.
upon me, my baldness. Now observe the rest of my brothers of the light's hair.
Just a random guy, look, laser.
He thinks it's all like a part of the game.
Oh, look, the point. I forgot about that.
Oh, is there such point? Oh.
Look at this, look at this.
Oi, Trevor, come here, bro.
Trev, we come in peace, Trev.
My abilities are malfunctioning. My abilities are malfunctioning.
Come on, Sham.
One stop here. Go.
Mate, knock the out, mate. I got that OF10. They literally came out the bushes like a bunch of ambushes. Mate, they came.
There's more. They're coming.
More. Oh,
I'm getting bummed, mate. Holy shit. I got depth.
They've been
oh, mate, they're getting farmed. We need to leave though, because you're gonna repeatedly spawn here.
Yeah.
Let's leave. Yeah, I'm just grabbing this hemp.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah, boy.
we talking about?
We don't be money.
Man, honestly, that was a disgusting display of foul roleplay there, because they can see that we're roleplaying, because there's no factions. They can see there's no excuse. I'm disgusted.
Are you doing this fishing one down here?
Oh, he spoiled it for me. Spoiled it. It was my surprise lake.
What, it's a fishing lake. What do you
Can
mean?
you believe this?
I've never done it before. It's a fishing lake, you bellend.
You spoiled
You
it.
bellend.
I wasn't even over the ridge, mate. I wasn't even over the ridge.
Well.
No, I don't want to play anymore.
Yeah, good.
No. But I like having your PvP on my mission, because it's like gives the people around you that element of like you're a Chad, but you're still a peaceful missionman.
Oh, mate, size of that. Jesus.
The big bloke.
I'm pinging this cross map, ready? Wait, what?
Oh, there's a guy fishing now. I can't gank him. Feels bad, man.
Yeah, that is the rule of thumb, is never gank a missionman. Never gank a fisherman.
Say as soon as you leave it that you're getting got, mate. Say as soon as that fishing rod ain't in your hand, you're getting taken out clean.
Yeah. Oh, he's typing.
I'll gank you now.
Okay. Right, that's it.
Are we beefing him?
Yeah.
Yeah, mate. Sorry.
Ah.
Don't say that, mate. Don't say that.
For the record, I did not see I had PvP on.
Ah.
Ah.
You learnt your lesson, mate. You got your bum slapped. Watch your tongue. Watch yourself around the members of the light. We cleanse filth.
Should
We
change
cleanse
faction now
filth.
camping for the whole launch experience?
Yeah.
I'll take my weapons off and punch him.
Probably.
Oh my god, you can't.
Bash him up.
Mate, you need to behave, mate. Yeah, come then.
Hey, can't get the f*** out of here, mate. You want some?
Come in.
Come on, you want something?
Beat him.
I'm in there, fella. Wait.
He's trying to use the weapon against me, mate. No.
I'm not going to shoot. Okay, I shot.
You just shot.
I did.
Leave him. We gave him the rundown.
Yeah, no, look how much HP he's on. We've told him. Show
HP.
him. Don't kill him now. Slash farewell.
Oh yes.
Farewell. Should we give him a good old roughing?
Slash bow. Who's that?
Good.
Yeah, I'm gonna give him. Oh, let me punch him real quick.
Oh, go on, knock him out with a punch.
I can res him.
Wait, come then.
Punch, go on, punch him out. Knock him out. Knock him out.
Then.
Go on.
Bang.
Go on.
Bang.
Go on.
Bang.
Go on.
Bang.
Go on.
Get out of here. Get out.
Well, he's made you look a right knob.
Yeah, Marv, he's showing you up right now.
Yeah, look. He's actually.
No, I ain't happy with this.
You're getting outplayed.
How do I?
You're literally losing to a fence right now. He's typing as well. He's BMing you. Look. Oh!
Wait, don't kill him, don't kill him. Oh my god.
I'm fucking leaving.
Show all the names. Nice.
Thank you, Battlemaster. Thank you, Galahad, Brenneker and Starglitter. Thank you, Jojo, Goob and Mr. Spinley, and Marcel H. You guys are great.
6 years ago, Sabo breaks bat, ejected for corked lumber. Can't be doing that. Show me some more New World. Oh, let's see this. We were wrong about gear score.
What's going on, folks? Hope you're having a wonderful night or day. Today I wanted to bring a video because there has been a little bit of a gear score situation going on for the past couple of days. There was some new information that came out finally about how the gear score system and the watermark system actually works. Now, for the longest time, the gear score has been classified as what's known as a watermark, and essentially how we, or some of us, have thought how it worked is that if you gain an item or you start, farming mobs, you farm chests, you farm elite enemies, things like that, and you have a gear score of like 580, for example, or let's say 500, then you would have a higher chance of getting gear that is closer to that gear score or slightly higher. But as it raised, whether it was through like quest rewards or faction gear, a lot of us thought that it would increase your chances of getting better stuff much quicker. So that's caused us to kind of play in certain ways where, like, for example, back in the alphas and testing phases like that, some of us would get faction gear as soon as we got to tier 5. That way we would try to boost up our gear score, not just for the stats themselves, but also to have a hopefully higher chance of getting better gear score items. Well, it turns out that none of that stuff actually counts towards your watermark, and it's actually slot based. So what I mean by that is when you get drops, let's say if you're farming on a unique enemy and you get a sword that's like a 510 gear score, or like a helmet that's a 510. It goes by the slots, so you have to basically just keep on farming these mobs and expeditions and things like that, and then it'll periodically go up as time goes on. One thing that I wanted to say is that it would be nice if we had some information, not all, but at least some information available in game through tooltips and various things like that, because for the longest time, none of us really knew exactly how these kinds of things work. Sometimes it'd be better if we were able to get this kind of thing publicly disclosed, like through patch notes and things like that, because that's something that I'm sure a lot of people were surprised to actually find out works a completely different way than we had assumed. Like, because when they had when they've been releasing patches and things like that, some of the changes that they've been making, like when they tuned the watermark and things like that, where it sounded like we would be able to increase our watermark based off of just the gear that we were wearing, and that it wasn't slot based. That's the biggest surprise to me, is that it's based off the slot, not exactly all the gear and all. So like if you were to get a 545 piece, it doesn't count for all the different pieces that you're able to get. So if they were to add something like that in the gear score tooltip, something like this right here, that would probably help people be a little bit more aware. And also if they wanted it to be, classified as a watermark, if they had put that portion in there too. Not everything needs to be, spoon fed to us in game in terms of the information, but there's certain things that we still don't know fully about, like the critical stats, like for critical hit chance and critical strike and stuff like that. Not being able to see that in a tooltip, like how much exactly we're getting, and if that if like the keen perk, for example, if that increases it by like a flat amount, or if that increases it just based off of a percentage of our current value, the current value that we have, things like that is not exactly clear still. So I do feel that the tooltips might still need some work there. We do need some more information.
Oh, we're
I think
close
the
to
armor
75.
threshold bonuses, this is a great example of something that gives us a detailed description. Apparently, there's still things in here that aren't working from the open beta patch even. Apparently, the armor thresholds themselves, like for the heavy, are still not reducing the healing potency properly, because we're supposed to have a 20% reduction if we're wearing heavy armor, and we still get the 10% bonus for medium and 10% for light, or 20% for light. But right now, apparently, from what people have been saying, there is no difference right now when you're wearing heavy armor. And I haven't been personally testing this, but I had assumed that by release we would have had this actually go through as a change, but apparently it might still not be working. But yeah, I think that would be great if they were to add that gear score information into the tooltips, because I did not know that in the slightest for the longest time. I'm sure a lot of people did not know that, because there was really no way to, because we didn't really receive that information through patch notes or anything like that. There's still information that I think a lot of people don't even know about some of the systems and how they work. Like, for example, the territory town projects, or not the town projects, but the territory standing perks, they actually have diminishing returns after a certain point. And I think a lot of people assume that you might be able to get up to like 40%, 50% XP gain with that perk if you wanted to, which would, you know, people say that it would be useless after a certain point, but I'm going to make a video on that as well. But yeah, it'd be great if we had some more information on that. Just wanted to bring that to your guys' attention though. Hope you have a wonderful night or day. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.
What the fuck did we just learn? Looks like right now the way the gear score watermark system works is that it's tied to the highest gear score item you've picked up via drops. So faction rewards, quests, trading post, etc. don't count towards upgrading it. Chests is something I still think would work for this, but only our armor and weapon slots count towards this. So chest head, hands, legs, feet, and weapons, other equipped drops don't seem to. Think they needed an item decay system? What? If they used the 6 to 12 months, you think it would have been nearly issueless? No. Do I have to be carrying my highest score item score things in order to improve, or is it just based on the highest score of that item I've ever picked up, regardless of whether I'm equipping it? Also, do items purchased from the trading post count for watermarks, or do I have to actually loot it? Based on the highest item you've ever picked up, regardless of whether you're equipping it. From what they've described in the picture, even if you buy something from the trading post, you would still have to farm drops to raise your watermark. Stop playing Destiny for New World, only to find out I never stopped playing Destiny? Is that how it works? Hey, cutie. Let's get another video going. Damn, 55-minute video. Let's grind. Oh, shit, sorry.
Dante Harlow, I see you've listed items for sale on the auction house. Who are you? Where are you? How long have you been here? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. I'm Josh Drive Hayes, and this is part 3 of my cosmic journey through the surreal madness that is the Otherland MMO. Back in part 2, we journeyed through the slums of the Upper Bad sector, fought off a spider ambush, worked with Mr. Tim and his son, cut down some giant bugs, rode the awesome light tunnel, stared at Dontui's boobs, fought through the infested jungle, died repeatedly at that one quest, and then spent 6 hours leveling a new class just to continue. We finally fought through the jungle only to discover Mars wasn't the next simulation, and now we're off to the chess battle land of 8 squared. In this episode, prepare to meet the mad chess king, find boobs bigger than Dontaries, and discover the baffling state of this game's developers. Also, I send a bug report, so we get to see the awesome state of that system, and then the ending might leave a few of you a little bit shocked. As always, consider dropping a like on the video or subscribing to the channel for more MMO
We're
stuff,
close
and
to
ring the bell
75.
so you don't miss a single episode of this stupid series. A big thank you to my Patreon supporters and Twitch subs. The names on screen now are the people funding this crazy adventure. More info on this at the end of the video. For now, part 3. Let's go. I need to begin by saying, while I may have started this journey alone in a dead game, it doesn't look like I'll be continuing that way. Not only has another person added items to the auction house, but while running around the Lambda Mall, I saw another player. I did shout at them, but no reply. This is likely due to the Discord channel. Lots of you have downloaded and tried this game just out of curiosity, and as more people continue to do so, the chance of me bumping into someone will only increase. I mean, look, the Steam charts shows 3 people online recently. That is the highest the player count has been in 6 months. It's a revival, people. We're bringing it back. I try to head back to the water village and see if there's anyone there, with it being the first place you'll go and all, but the portals seem to work strangely and don't let me go back. Maybe you need to follow the story missions and can only return later. Also, while running around, can we just take a second to appreciate this animation? 2 lore keepers talking to one very, very belligerent punk, and man, the energy this guy is radiating, the double middle finger. This NPC, he just will not quit. May we all live as boldly as double middle finger guy. Right, let's continue the main story. Oh, quick backstory. We are doing all this to hunt down some guy called Orlando, who is a simuloid, but also aware of that, and they're traveling through the simulations looking for reasons the simulations are going bad, so we are chasing them. Okay, plot established, let's go. Welcome to Snowdonia, the opening area of 8 squared. A chess
Snowdonia.
simulation that got way out of hand, and now there's people and farmers and orphans and stuff. This is also the first time I've been able to fall off a ledge and die, but you respawn right back, so no big loss. The area starts and what the hell? Again, a lumber mill, but the tracks lead to a blue digital window that what does it process the wood into code and change it? Why are all the NPCs just standing around staring at it? This is creepy. From the very beginning, the creepiness begins so early in this world. Now, fair warning, 8 squared is more of a psychological world. There's still decent visuals, but this is where the game gets kind of meta, which I personally love. I run around the back of the lumber mill and oh yeah, it actually does process whatever raw material into blocks, actual perfectly square blocks. We are Minecraft now. This world is building itself. You might also have noticed this ice effect around the edge of the screen. Snowdonia is cold, and this is to remind you throughout. It also remains in the entire area. I'm fine with this. It's a little visual flair to make it look like your monitor is frosted over at the edges. It's small enough to not be distracting, but obvious enough to create atmosphere. It's a nice little design choice. We chat to Fredericks, someone also hunting down Orlando, and she tells us to follow her. We do, and we're attacked by a zombie. Now, I cannot harm this zombie, but it's also attacking Fredericks. This is the problem. I discovered that if a fight is scripted, as in a specific enemy attacking a specific NPC, you cannot join in until the scripted section ends, and your attacks will just do 0 damage. The enemy must be focusing on you for a fight to happen. Thankfully, you can still talk to Fredericks while she's being wailed on by the zombie. She explains that shaders, those digital enemy things, are broken bits of code from various simulations infesting other simulations and generally being annoying. 8 Squared has seen an influx of shaders recently, so we need to scout the village ahead and discover why. This is also likely what Orlando was looking into. This whole world is fantasy. This is the closest the game gets to traditional Tolkien-esque Lord of the Rings, rolling green hills and fantasy battlefields, and it looks fine. A lot of people actually said that Otherland was similar to a modern-day Lord of the Rings, with a lot of the story beats being kinda similar. The close-by village was a barbarian scouting camp, and everyone here is dead, so we venture into the nearby tomb and do some good old-fashioned dungeon diving, and yep, they're all dead still, but there are shaders remaining, so we clear them out. Let Fred know there's nothing but death and shaders here, and then move further into 8 Squared. Running across this foggy bridge, the ambient music is lovely. It's classical Spanish guitar, not something I'd immediately associate with high fantasy, but it really does help serve the
I have too much
ambience
aged
here.
wood.
The trees in the distance, the muted tones of the bricks, another lovely environment wasted on this game. I do a bit of exploring around and find, oh, my first dungeon. Frozen Web Dungeon. Could this be a full actual dungeon? So I go in and I start taking damage from nowhere. So I'll just head straight back out and, yeah, might come back here later when I'm more tanky. I can survive a lot, but random unseen damage is definitely a bit off-putting. Fred tells us to go and kill 10 shaders, and this whole kill 10 thing will become a reoccurring theme in this world. The combat, oh, it's dividing me. When it works, it's great. Hits feel solid, special attacks have a nice pushback effect, the enemy animations are vastly improved, but it only works sometimes. Most of the times, enemies ignore you, hits phase through hitboxes, special attacks don't work. Basically, the combat here is as bugged as the story plot. The whole plot is about games not working right, and we are absolutely playing a game not working right. It's very meta. We kill 10, then follow Fred and enter Barbarian Village. Right, I know where
That's
I am now.
interesting.
Varrock to the east, Draenor to the south. Gotcha. The Barbarian Village, a load of long tents and furred-up fighters with this lump of something roasting over a fire. It's not meat. It's clearly digital because you've got these chemical bond graphical images flashing over it. God, this is surreal. I love it. Chat to the Barbarian Chieftain. They are preparing for a fight, so he sends me to collect 10 resources. This means walk up to 10 boxes, scatter around the camp, and click them. This is just tidying. I'm tidying up the camp for you. Here's a nice touch. The blacksmith animations and the smithing sounds match up. Hammer noise happens when hammer strike visual happens. Small touch, but I notice it. And many games get this wrong. Nice one, Otherlands. How are you able to match this up, but you forgot to put footsteps on certain surfaces? Then, as I'm running around, a cloud of super intense fog rolls in. This isn't a glitch, it happens a few times, but damn, look at this! It's like taking a trip to Silent Hill. This is just another way they've built ambience and environmental immersion into the game. Oh, for everything you do badly, Otherland, I do love your environments. I've been in fog this thick before in real life, and yeah, this is accurate. You can't see a thing. The chief sends us to the shaman. We run up this hill, and again, the shaman has a little glade of life and greenery, plants, flora and fauna growing in this frozen landscape. This is lovely. What a nice touch. You know from the environmental storytelling the shaman is a powerful magician, a nature lover, and from the pleasant garden likely a decent person. See? Narrative storytelling in environmental design. And just as I'm enjoying it, another issue. I open the map, I'm wondering what this natural oasis looks like on the map, and when I zoom in, no matter where your cursor is or where you are, the map will always zoom in to the top left. It's like you've locked the zoom in feature to expand the map, anchored in the top left point. Design note for MMO people. Zoom in should be anchored to the center of the cursor, wherever the player chooses to put that. The shaman needs 10 shaders killed and 10 essence extracted because quest design is hard, but thankfully I have found a solution to the aggro issue. You see, I visited a skill trainer and I bought a new skill. It's an AoE damage attack which makes every enemy attack me, but it works on every enemy, even ones that haven't noticed me yet. So now I don't need to wait for the enemy AI to pick me up and say, hey, I should attack him. I can just force start fights by running up and using my AoE ability. This is much quicker. Back to the shaman, she's concerned about the fact that when one shader dies, another appears and wonders if it's the weapons we're using that are wrong, which means go and collect 10 weapons from the floor, which is again just clicking 10 swords and picking up 10 items. I find it so hard to believe the environmental design team and the quest writing team were the same person, because they are worlds apart in terms of quality. Take 10 weapons back to the shaman, meet Fred behind the camp and have a quick chat, then get ambushed by the Red Army. Remember, this is still a chess game after all, so 3 waves of Red Army soldiers attack. Honestly, in group combat like this, just spam every attack you have. Something will likely hit. Eventually, the AoE is the only thing I can rely on, so I just use that. I'm also getting a new weapon every few quests, so my damage is scaling quite nicely with the combat. The progression curve in this game so far, for the tank anyway, is quite smooth. They've balanced the story to not need too much grinding. Yet. Enemies dealt with, and Fred tells us to meet her by the Red Army camp, which is just lots more running. And now I discover a really odd issue with the skills menu. Now pay attention, developers, because this gets specific. Page 1 of the skills menu shows 5 skills. The icons are in colour because I can use them. I scroll down to page 2. These icons are greyed out because I haven't bought them yet, or I can't use them due to level requirements. But when I scroll back up to the first page, the icons I can use are also now greyed out. Fix this. How does this even break? Also, later in the episode, I do actually send a bug report, and you'll see what happens when that happens. In the Red Army camp, kill 20 soldiers, more buggy combat, more awkward hit detection, more godlike AoE. Haha, yes, attack me, I am in charge of combat now. Sometimes the enemy will just have like 500 or so hit points left and just die. They just give up. This happens a lot. The HP bar or tracked numbers just can't keep up with my rate of damage, so the enemy just straight up gives up and dies. Another quest down, another sexy sci-fi visor. I feel a lot like a character from Flash Gordon. During my slaughter of the camp, I accidentally find the Red General. I get ready for a tough fight and... oh, no, just another enemy. Disappointing. Why do all these tents look like they're from the Fire Nation? Where's Zuko? Where is there some guys screaming about cabbages? Hand in the quest of Fred, and now the storyline actually gets really meta, and I love it. The barbarians want me to drive the Red Army back, because the Red Army is a simulation. They work on the programming of if and then commands. If X is true, then Y happens. So we have to break the commands in order to get the army to leave, and the commands we need to break are: if the general is still alive, then the army will stay. If the army has buildings, then they will stay. So we must kill the general, then burn the buildings. This is a really good story-based thematic way to include kill X quests within a narrative framework of a computer game. This is some excellent writing. So we burn down 3 tents. Now I've seen the burning animation before with the bugs nests, so let's see if they've gotten any better. It is much better. The tent model fades away with glitched textures, then there's actual flames. Why didn't this happen with the bugs nests? Finish up here, then report all this to the barbarian shaman. She is happy and sends us to find 5 scouting parties and coordinate a final assault. There's also a really nice line of dialogue. I think that the book author Tad Williams probably had a bit of a hand in writing the dialogue for this section, because the actual writing quality is really good. She says, "I'd say this is impossible, but you have proved that word has no meaning." That's a really nice line. The scouting teams, however, are doing what scouting teams do best and hiding in some really random places. I have to journey off the beaten path to find them, sometimes hopping over some mountain ledges, full on Skyrimming this mountain, and then this happens. Ah, bugger. I get stuck on a rock. I am jumping, so technically in the game I'm falling, but I've not touched the ground yet because I'm wedged between 2 vertical surfaces, so I just keep on falling. And you can't move while falling, so, right. What do? I just wait, and finally, luckily, I fall out onto the floor. But I can see if this happens in a bad place, I might actually get stuck in the game. Haha. Foreshadowing. Finding the scouting party takes me on a zigzag course around all of them one at a time, but when I run back through the camp, a snowstorm just rolls in and covers the screen in a white flurry. I adore the weather effects here. If this game had a better engine, you could have your characters covered in snow piling up on one side or objects being buried, but while the technical effects aren't there, the idea is. And now what I was scared of earlier happens. I jump down and get stuck. I'm stuck between a tent wall and the floor, but the floor is too steep to stand on, so I'm glitched into the falling animation. I can't jump or move or use skills. I can't do anything. I'm stuck. I try typing /kill me, /unstuck, stuck, die. Nothing works. So I open the menu and I send a bug report. I actually let these kind developers know there is an issue with this exact part of the game. And do you want to see the bug report page? The page that opens when you click report a bug. This is what you see. It's not an active page. Right, so the game help is no use whatsoever. How about logging off and back in? Also doesn't help. You log back in the same place. Right.
Nice.
Bugger. Thankfully, there is a respawn button on the main menu. I have a feeling I'm going to die a lot in this area just because of the scenery. The scenery in 8 Squared is so buggy. You can clip through walls and get stuck on anything, and we will see much more of this later. For those of you that enjoyed the intense ass graphics, running while holding a two-handed sword looks like this. Look at that absolute dummy thick model. Clearly the guy's been doing squats. I let the chief know all the scouting parties are briefed and prepared for an attack, and then he sends us off to Stone Cross, and on my way there, I discover this. This is an NPC just fighting the air, just going at it with his own shadow. So I stop to laugh at him, and then I get knocked down by some invisible force. Damn, guess the guy wasn't crazy, he was just fighting a ghost. Then there's this item on the floor. It has the F key prompt. When I aim at it, and pressing F just makes a sound. Why? Why is this here? What does this do? Rock, what is your deal? Adventure through this mostly destroyed village. It's a perfectly acceptable fantasy village, and find the barbarians waiting outside a deserted tomb. They tell me the enemy isn't here, and I need to look around for clues as to where they might have gone. Now, a quest about gathering clues can be good if well written, but this is not well written because I don't actually look for clues. I just interact with random assorted objects the game needs me to in a certain order. I start by rubbing this stone pillar, then I go and fondle this book, and finally I caress this small crystal. And this tells me all I need to know. This isn't find clues, this is just go and touch objects to fill time.
I shouldn't have
We
taken
find
that.
a portal atop some steps. Shaders flood through it, and we fight. Oh, here's a sound glitch. When you collect multiple items at once and you pick them all up, all the sound effects overlap and it just sounds horrible. Have a listen. RIP headphone users, you will be missed. The shader boss now spawns and the fight is so epic I think I'll play it for you in its entirety. Wow. Just wow. This game really is a pile of unrealised potential, isn't it? Let the shaman, who is now on top of this hill, know about the portal and the shaders flooding through it, and she says, no problem, there's an ancient and powerful ritual that should be able to close it. All I need to do is collect some sticks, rocks, mud, and leaves. What's the plan, shaman? Are we gonna arts and crafts them to death? Are we gonna brick up the portal or just pile rocks around it? What is the plan? This doesn't sound like magic, but you know what? Okay. All the items I need to collect are in the nearby village. Piles of mud, some rocks, some plants for leaves, and oh, it's these rocks, the rocks from earlier. So quest items that you can interact with are always loaded into Otherland. They're just not actually usable for their purpose until you're on the quest. You can still interact with them and they still make a sound, they just don't give you the object. That makes more sense and less sense at the same time. This is so far the most fetchy of all the fetch quests. Gathering 10 of one item is fine, but gathering various amounts of 4 all within a small area is just menial labour. It's not challenging or memorable, it's just work. So we bring all the stuff back to the shaman and then she does this.
We're spinning.
God damn, Okay, I guess you are up, Magic. She blows up the portal with a spell and we catch up with the village chief, and we're both very surprised that actually worked, but now the next quest starts. A quest simply called More Bigger Issues. Find Frederick some distance away and she opens a light tube for us to fly through and continue helping the people of 8 Squared while we continue to hunt for Orlando. Remember, that's all we actually care about doing. The light tube flies us over the land and down into a misty forest. The ambience now shifts dramatically. The greens replaced with sober blues and greys, black shadows and creeping mist. This forest is definitely creepy, there's no denying that. I guess 8 Square doubles up as the horror world. Fred tells us she's getting major creepy vibes from the NPC in the clearing ahead, so we, being the brave hero, approach. And guess what we find? Will it be a withered hag? Or a Lovecraftian monster? Nope. It's some boobs. It is so much boobs. Dontery is now a far memory. Friendship ended with Dontery, now Spooky Boob Lady is my best friend. I have known this NPC for exactly 10 seconds, but I'm all ready to devote my entire life to her. She tells me to follow her through the spooky forest, and oh my god, yes, it's happening. Forget Resident Evil Village Lady, I've got Otherland Forest Lady. We arrive at her cozy little cottage. She turns to me seductively and tells me her husband isn't around. Well, fantastic. And then she asks me to go and find him. God damn it. Fine, I set off to find this woman's husband, and along the way I find a creepy trapped soul that looks like the Pillsbury Doughboy mascot. Then we find this shop vendor who uses a child model stretched to adult sizes. So it's got this super unsettling childhood giganticism thing going on. The woman's husband is further into the forest, and he's actually part of the Red Army. He's a rook, that's a castle chess piece, and oh my god, I love this. Look at this. His shoulder armour has banding sticking up, referencing the rook's actual chess model. This is lovely. Character design based on actual chess pieces. More fantastic storytelling. Oh, so also I'm helping the red side now. It seems that while in the 8 Squared world, the main aim is to prevent the world from being destroyed by shaders. The barbarians seem pretty neutral and will help both the red and blue to further our goal of finding Orlando. I quite like this. We're basically chaotic neutral. While running around this beautiful creepy forest, I look up and, oh, that's nice. It's like a platforming section. I really hope at some point I get to travel up there and jump along it. I can't imagine they'll actually let me, but still, the use of the vertical design space in Otherland so far is fantastic. There's always something above you to look at, and it serves to make the world feel real beyond the small part that you're in. Like here, I don't need to run up onto this bridge overlook section, but I can, and I do because the world is gorgeous and the designer has clearly just discovered the ambient light beam tool and is using it every chance they get in this forest. This world is wasted on this game. If you or anyone you know knows who developed and who designed this area, please, this environment needs to be copied pixel for pixel and used in something better. I mean, you'll need to patch up the random progress halting falling bugs and bits of the world that you can just break through, but you get the idea. Use the environment. Just maybe not the physics. Running through the forest, the darkened trees, the rolling blackened ground, the fog, the light beams. This looks like a dream, and I love it. This is the reason I'm playing the game, that pure, unadulterated video game style, using the designer's skill to create a feeling, and there are moments when Otherland does that so damn well. Meet up with the Red Army Rook and help him look for some local survivors. There's only one dude by a wagon, so we chat to him and report back. This gets me the first Augment quest reward, little items that improve our stats while equipped. It's nice to know I'm getting to the more elite items and equipment section. Another gathering quest now, find 10 boxes of rations and 10 swords for the injured soldier. Not sure why he needs 10, but the designers have clearly decided they spent a lot of time on this area, so we must remain here longer, so here's a mindless fetch quest. Ugh, just throw this mindless fetch quest into the forgettable quest pile. It's the pile right next to the awesome design pile. They're about the same size by now. Push on into the world, find more broken bridges and cool scenery touches, and then this crystal cove. Oh, this is lovely. But, oh god, I keep trying to angle the camera up so I can look up into the sky, but it's always clipping into the grass and blocking it into the foreground. Look, this game is really awkward, which sucks because there's a lot of nice stuff to look up at. The game just doesn't like me doing it. I need to collect some medical herbs from this cove for a fallen soldier, and it's just beautiful. It's such a stark contrast to the misty black forest we were in, but there's a line on the floor, a very definite divide where the lighting changes. You can see me running over it here. It's not a slow fade into the next new style, it's just boom, immediate switch to new lighting. Inside the cove, and this is the first time I've seen the game use this effect, you can walk over these mushrooms and squish them into the floor. They pop right back up when you step off, but you can still squish them down. Why did you wait until now to use a fun effect like this? Gather up 8 herbs from this beautiful, tranquil, trippy garden, and this makes the Guardian appear. Oh, I've angered someone. Probably code designed to guard this place. So I prepare for an epic fight, and again, no. Just spam some abilities, and it dies. I'm not asking for much, developers, just a fight that's challenging but winnable. Not broken, like the grenade from episode 2. Not easy, like the shader boss from earlier or just now. A fight that makes me feel like I've earned the victory would be nice. Return to the injured dude with the herbs that are definitely not drugs, and he seems happy enough. So we report back to the Red Rook, and he sends me to scout for some local soldiers that should be around here somewhere. Unfortunately, they're all dead. Each group has been ambushed and killed by shaders. So we fight the shaders, and while fighting them, is it just me, or do they squeak when they attack me? I'll raise the volume, just listen for a high-pitched squeak on the attack.
They squeak. They definitely squeak.
Defeat the shaders, bring the rather depressing news of the dead soldiers back to the Rook, then go and check to see how our injured friend is doing. He says he's feeling much better and my code is looking quite tasty. Then he explodes into a shader and betrays us. Then he's joined by even more. We get surrounded, but thankfully Frederick shows up and whisks us away to the safety of Shard Manor, which is apparently where the king lives. So it seems that shaders aren't just random broken code anymore. They are now random broken code that can masquerade as simulation NPCs and kill other NPCs and generally damage the world. Good to know. I'm now sent inside Shard Manor to have a chat with the king, see if we can help stabilize this breaking world a bit. And on the way, I attack a zombie that I absolutely cannot hurt. Every attack he dodges or absorbs, but he can hurt me. So okay, don't fight zombies because they're invincible. Up the hill we go on our way to meet the Mad King, the linchpin of this virtual battlefield. I don't know what would be more intimidating, a massive monstrosity or a regular dude. And it turns out it's a regular dude. But they speak in rhyme. This is where the plot gets a bit odd. I mean, it was odd before, but now it gets odd even for Otherland. The king hasn't quite realised his castle is deserted and there's an endless war raging out of control, and he will help us find Orlando, but first we need to help him by going to the village below and collecting the taxes. Well, okay, I kind of feel like a bad guy here, but I mean, it does at least mean I get to ride another awesome light tunnel. Woo! Light tunnels! Woo! As with the other villages, this actual location looks nice, the scale is good, the colours pop, the NPC placement is understandable, so we start asking around, starting with Boris the beggar, who has forgotten his own name. He sends us to other specific NPCs in the village and we start collecting taxes. Fritz the innkeeper refuses to pay, just saying no, and look, his character model is great. Dirty white apron, moobs spilling out under one side, one leg. This is memorable. I'm really glad it's not just generic man. Boromir the wine drinker next. He also says no to the taxes. If only if it was this easy to avoid taxes in real life. Just imagine. Remember, the government can't take your money if you just say no. Now we meet Han the Shepherd, which is absolutely a Hannibal reference because he's watching over some sheep and he quotes Silence of the Lambs when you talk to him. Ultimately, no one agrees to pay the tax, so we are sent back to the king to deliver the news that nope, no taxes. Light tube, woo! The king is understandably unhappy with this turn of events and so appoints me as head tax collector and prime minister of taxation and tells us to go back and take the owed taxes by force. I mean, earlier I just felt bad, but now I've been given some power and a title. Remember, if you want to see who someone truly is, give them a little bit of power. So armed with my new government position and burning passion for bureaucracy, I head back and demand taxes. Fear me, for I am the tax collector. So the peasants don't have any money, but they say that they can pay in resources, which I deem to be acceptable, but I have to gather them myself. Oh god, wow. They can't even be bothered to give me the resources they collected themselves. What lazy peons. Just look at this pile of wood model. They've got the cylinder shape of the logs correct, the stack balances, the textures are fine, the colours match. and then they've just forgotten to trim the square model end texture from the end of the log. Just how? How have you gotten so much of this right? You were almost there. This is Otherland in a nutshell. Looks mostly great, with massive, glaring, obvious flaws. Collect wood from the piles to pay the loggers' taxes, then chase some sheep around to collect the wool. While I'm doing this, I'm thinking, how much time has passed? How long have I been here? The calm village, the ambient Spanish guitar background music, the early morning sunlight. I have completely lost track of time. Has it been 5 minutes or 5 hours? I don't know, and yet I feel strangely calm, strangely zen. This is a really relaxing part of the game. Oh, strange interaction with the sheep I noticed though. Normally, interacting with an in-game object spawns one of those wireframe trophy items you need on a quest, and then you pick it up, like the pile of logs did. But not here, not with sheep. This time, interacting with the sheep just adds the item straight into your inventory, no need to pick it up. This is the only time the game has done this. It can't even be consistent with quest item design on the same bloody quest. Now to collect 25 bits of hay, and this quest makes me even angrier. Moving on from the inconsistencies of the sheep, this one gets semantics wrong. Hay is dried grass, and what I'm interacting with here is clearly wheat. Developers, fix this. Change the quest description to collect 25 bits of wheat. I get ambushed by boggarts a lot during this quest. They are small and quick and hard to fight, but the almighty AoE attack makes short work of literally everything. And then I see this scarecrow that's just floating in the air. Oh, hey, somebody should give this scarecrow an award because he's outstanding in his field. Get it? Do you get it? Please like and subscribe. No, seriously, please do. I really want to stop making polls. Ask the elder what he will be sending for his share of the tax, and he suggests collecting some books from the nearby burned down house. He claims the woman who lived there used to be a witch, so we can probably just convince the king they're magic books or something. I mean, yeah, that works for me. So we go and gather 7 totally normal magical books. Ask the innkeeper what he's sending, and he says he knows of a secret treasure, but it's been hidden by some strange boggart. But the bridge keeper knows where to find the boggart. So we go and talk to the bridge keeper, who for some reason keeps standing up and down and then sitting during the conversation. Dude, just pick a position and stick with it. The bridge keeper now sends us to find the boggart, called Dirt, who according to the quest tracker is quite some distance away, so I set off on an elaborate trek up a mountain and eventually reach Dirt. He says he'll happily help, but he's lost his treasure and we need to go and find it, and I'm getting flashbacks to One Small Favour all over again. So okay, God, tax collecting life is hard. So I go full on Skyrim and jump down the mountain, but then... bugger. Right, I am definitely 100% stuck this time. There is no getting out of this. I've clipped through some collision-free textures and got locked in a mountain range. So I use the respawn feature and... oh, double bugger. You see, you respawn at the nearest portal, and my position on the map actually put me closer to the next area portal, not the village portal. So I've just accidentally jumped ahead in the game. I don't know where I am. I don't know what level this area is. I don't know how to get back. Right, this could be a problem. I run around for a bit before thinking, oh yeah, portals, I can just daisy chain my way back. But even this isn't easy, because while the map does show you portal locations, it doesn't show you portal names, or even area names, even if you hover over the portal icon. And not every portal is linked to every other one, so I have to just keep jumping from portal to portal until I end up kinda close to where I need to be and then just running back. Find Dirt's box, finally, kill the bandits guarding it, and break it open, then take the treasure back to the innkeeper, and he's like, yep, that is definitely my contribution to the taxation effort. You are welcome. Final chat with the elder, gather up the barrel of stuff he's sending in tribute, then take all this back to the Mad King. Hopefully he is happy with my valiant taxation trip. The king's thrilled, but now he has plans to make some golden saddles and reins for his
I'm on
horses.
part 3.
So he sets us off, finding 10 saddles and 10 stirrups around the castle courtyard. This is literally just another time-wasting collect 10 quest. But oh, fun glitch! This box generates loads of quest items, and collecting them all does that horrible sound thing again. And on the wall over here, there's another icon. This seems to be crafting or upgrading, but it's not showing anything on any tab, so either the system is down or I have nothing to interact with it. Maybe both. I will probably explore this more in a later episode, likely becoming the only person on the planet able to explain how other lands' upgrading system works. I've also only just noticed this, but look really hard and you'll see that the collect 10 wool quest box is burned into the middle of the screen. Only faintly, but it's not unloaded. It's just like it started to fade away and then stopped. And this will remain for quite some time. And I've pointed this out now because I know it will really annoy some of you. Let the king know we've got all the horse equipment and he sends us to the village blacksmith to have it all repaired and fixed up. So back down the tube we go. This part really is just back and forth the game. Back at the village, and the elder wants to talk quickly. He says we are being manipulated. There are no horses. There have never been any horses, and the king is imagining the whole thing. And if we keep following orders, we'll be dragged into the madness too. The blacksmith basically confirms this. Then we hear that Fredericks has been looking for us and might have some information on Orlando, so we can stop this weird charade and head off to find her. The elder tells us to go south. Then I spot, probably, the most broken part of the game so far. And I only spot it now because no one has said north or south up to this point. The minimap to the bottom centre of the screen has the letter N on top, clearly referencing north. But it doesn't mean anything because the minimap spins as we turn, but the N remains graphically on top. So it's never north because whenever you run forward, you are always running up in relation to the minimap. So that means it always looks like you're heading north. I have not changed the map settings. This is standard. Oh, developers, oh no. You clearly put the N on the minimap edging because that's what you've seen done before. But then you've not made it have any actual relevance to which way is north. To know which direction is north, you have to open the world map and make sure you're heading
Maybe we're all
up.
the north.
This is such a schoolboy error. Compass navigation hasn't mattered until now. And now when you say go north, the compass you've given me doesn't work.
What do you just smell?
I've not had any reason to notice this, but now I have. It's so stupid. While running north, or south, or east, or whatever, I can't deny how cool the giant floating pawn in the sky looks. This area might be full of mindless fetch quests, but it's got style. Find Fred, get ambushed, fight the enemies, then go and find Fred again, and she gives us a bit more plot. The simulation code of 8 squared is damaged, and there are odd portals showing up around the place, like the barbarian one we killed earlier. The portals are bringing in rogue code, shaders from other simulations into this one. So we need to investigate and discover where the portals came from and how we close them. We find a portal close by and ring the bell, and then it summons a flame beast. Watch as the epic battle between man and beast unfolds, and the beast just doesn't bother retaliating. Every time I expect something to be epic, it just leaves me feeling disappointed. We tell Fred about the beast and she thinks this is a problem because nothing big should be able to come through the portals, especially enemies or NPCs from one simulation into another. There are some more local portals to mess with, so we interact with all of those and spawn some mythical tigers, then some giant ants. Oh, these are actually giant, they are way bigger than the bug planet. And then some of these cool faceless trees from the water village earlier. Fred says the portals are clearly bugged and connections between simulations shouldn't happen like this. She then says, I'll create a light tube to take us to safety. She then runs off and the created tube is like 5 minutes walk away. Come on, Fred, if you can make light tunnels, just make one that starts where we are. Oh, this tunnel takes us to where I managed to glitch respawn to earlier. Right, I get where we are in the world now, playing the game as intended. Fred tells us this area isn't safe. She's not sure why, it just seems dodgy. And we see all these ghostly figures walking toward a central energy vortex. So we run up the path away from the vortex and meet Numalina, a barbarian scout. They lead us to the barbarian outpost, and I'm getting sick of the collect 10 wool shadow, so I reload the game. Which annoyingly fails the quest. So back down to the hill and follow them up again, and my sword, is that part of the Neo Buster sword from Final Fantasy Advent Children? That looks really similar. I'm not sure which design came first, but that is very derivative. Right, now we can continue. We are sent to talk to the leader of the barbarian tribe called Mackie D. Seriously, the leader is called Mackie D.
Nice.
Now, I don't know if this was in the books or if McDonald's was even called Mackie D's in popular culture when this was written, but wow, okay. Barbarian Mackie D. Let's do this. Also, Amazonian women. Brilliant. If this
Damn.
whole finding Orlando thing doesn't work out, it shall be death by snoo snoo for everyone. I meet Mackie D. Now, despite having a dumb name, he is an interesting character. He's fully aware he's part of a simulation and part of the code, saying how the barbarian is his coded appearance, but he's actually much more intelligent than he lets on, and his job is to keep balance between the warring armies and try to keep the simulation stable. But there's an issue. The energy vortex we saw earlier is the soul's spirit well, a connection between simulations that small bits of code, NPCs or items, can travel freely through. However, recently, bigger things have been appearing and smaller programs have been disappearing at a vastly increased rate. NPCs have been uncontrollably driven to jump into the well, and he thinks this is causing most of the glitches and portals to appear. We travel down to investigate, and I consider jumping down the mountain edge to get there faster, but I don't feel like getting stuck again, so down the path we go. The random bits of code going into this data well, which is literally a well model, aren't alone. They're being attacked and killed by data wraiths, which is such a cool name for a band. Data wraith. I'd listen. In quite a sad touch, there's a ghost of a girl crying because she lost her dad. He jumped into the well and hasn't come back out. Now Fred says this is all a bit bad, and we get to killing 5 wraiths while she analyses the situation with her magical analysis machine. Fred explains the 8 squared code is being pulled through to be used elsewhere, but she's not sure where. So we go back to the barbarian outpost, and then they attack Fred because they assume she is a bad guy, which is a nice narrative touch, because the last simuloid who passed through here was quite aggressive, and that was likely Orlando. Now they say that Orlando went to talk to the magical spirit maiden, so we go and have a chat to her as well. She's found up in this orchard. The orchard is lovely. It's a really ambient place, great colours. Again, another great place wasted on a game that nobody will play. Thoria, that's the spirit, says yes, she did speak with Orlando, and the spirit well is indeed bad news. Seems lots of simulation worlds are breaking, and data is being pulled from all of them and going somewhere. But before she can help, she demands that we go back to Mackie D and support the barbarians against the attacking Red Army, because if the barbarian bastion is overrun, then either army will gain control of the spirit well, and that would be really bad for the simulation code. Ronald McDonald, Mackie D, tells us that the Red Army is attacking and we need to defend the camp before focusing on the spirit well. So I run to a local shop, sell off all my extra stuff, enjoy that lovely shop sound again, and then make my way through the outpost and onto the battlefield. The battlefield is strange. The quest is to kill 15 red soldiers, and on one hand, you've got great touches like dead NPCs, arrows sticking into the ground, a realistic defensive barrier, and on the other hand, you've got NPCs from both sides just standing around, only a few feet from the enemy, not engaging them. That looks stupid. I do, however, love how the Red Army healers look like the bishop chess pieces. They've continued that stylistic choice. We kill 15 and it takes some time because melee combat is inconsistent.
We're close to 75.
As hell. Then we return to Mackie's to let him know we've helped him, and this happens.
Oh shit!
Again, what the hell? So we fight the screaming, horrifying thing and then, oh, it's actually rather easy. Oh, and Mackie D is back, seems he can respawn. The screaming thing was called the Neo Grail. Now this was mentioned by a dying soldier in a museum in the tutorial. I'm guessing it's a program that can travel between simulations and kill NPCs at will, which actually sounds really cool. Now, while Mackie D can respawn, it takes energy and he needs more. So we're sent through the village to talk to Pumpy K, or Pumpk, not sure how that's pronounced, and oh, hello there. This is the resource master, and she needs some highly coded items to speed up Mackie D's respawn timer. Just so happens that arrows and stuff are highly coded, and there's a battlefield nearby. So off we go to collect 15 things. Wonder if I can get the camera to just gently, just clip inside the, yeah, there we go. There's the thumbnail. Collect the arrows, but oh right, we also need some crystals, so into the Frost Fist Valley we go. Oh god, the textures and the lighting. These crystals look lovely. They've got decent reflections and refractions
Lovely.
going on. How can you design and place crystals to look so beautiful, but you can't stop me getting trapped between a tent and the wall? This area is also the first time I legitimately die in quite a while. This was my fault. I bit off more than I could chew and the giant lizards killed me. So okay, I guess the game is becoming challenging. This is good. Keep this up, game. Oh, seems that's not enough though either. We now need 15 leather scraps and 10 magical herbs. So, how do I get there?
Magical
Do
herbs.
I go through the crystal place? Is there a linear path? Oh no, it's back to the battlefield and around. Okay. The leather comes from killing wolves and the herbs just respawn, and this is quite boring. So while I'm doing this brain-dead quest, let's look into the history of this game. Originally created by DTP Entertainment, the people behind the amazing point-and-click adventure Black Mirror and Black Mirror 2, and then the less amazing Mystery of the Druids, the company didn't really have any experience in the MMO world or the action world. Oh, side note, if you want to watch an excellent playthrough of those games, check out Ross's Game Dungeon on the channel Accursed Farms. I'll link it below. He is a fantastic YouTuber. I checked out DTP's website and clicked on the free-to-play button at the top, and every single one of their games links to a dead site. Absolutely none of their games have any active web pages, and this is their official page. So Otherland was scheduled
Nice.
for a 2012 release, then cancelled, then 2 years later in 2014 picked up by Drago Entertainment, who have it today. Now Drago don't have many games to their name at all, and almost no big ones. They are essentially an indie studio focusing on simulation games. They released Otherland on Steam in 2015, but it was taken down due to technical issues, then put back up in 2016, which is where it has remained. Sometime mid-development, it was remastered as Otherland Next, which is the version I'm playing now. But as we don't have much
I need to bring
documented
these over
stuff
there.
from the original, it's hard to do a side-by-side comparison. This is where it gets weird. Drago Entertainment do have a website, but it's not secure. And they do have other games, such as Paparazzi Simulator, Detective Simulator, Food Truck Simulator, and Gas Station Simulator.
Nice.
Which I have to say, does look like the most in-depth video rendition of running a gas station I've ever seen. Their larger projects seem to be called Red Frost, which is a survival horror in a frozen wasteland, and Oil Tycoon 2, a game released back in 2005, which I'm pretty sure I've played. Otherland is the only MMO on their website from what I can see, and also it's the only game with a Play Now button on the website. Every other game is coming soon. Using the hyperlinks in the website, you can also travel to the official Otherland Next webpage. There, you can find the following: an embedded YouTube video advert. But when you click through to watch this video on YouTube, you can discover it has 85,000 views and is actually unlisted, meaning the only way you can view this is by going to the Otherland website, and it automatically plays, which means the Otherland website has likely been visited by 85,000 people or less. And then if we slow this trailer down and go frame by frame, we get this screenshot of the UI, which is nothing like the game as it is now. They are using straight up wrong footage in the trailer. This also lets us find that Drago Entertainment has a YouTube channel, which currently has just over 500 subscribers, and their most watched video of all time is a trailer for a survival horror called Frostfall. So I did some digging, and
The previous game? What was the previous game? Oh, he's just going over the developer's website right now. Who killed the barbarian boss? It was some program. Some program. Nothing crazy.
Frostfall had to
You know how it
change its
goes.
name to Red Frost. I don't know why, but probably because if you search for Frostfall, you get the excellent Skyrim survival mod instead. Now, the latest video from Drago Entertainment was posted on YouTube, what the hell, several hours ago? Damn, I guess they are still active. I wonder if they'll see this video. Back on the Otherland main site, and I wonder what happens if you click the play for free link at the top. Oh, it's not a private connection and my security warns me against it. How about news? Same issue. And forums? Yeah, same again. There is also a link to their official Twitter page at the bottom, The latest tweet was in June 2020, advertising a double Soma weekend, and it has no comments, likes, or retweets. Back to the actual game, and I have finally found a combination that works.
It's rough
and
out there as a
why it
dev.
works. The AoE attack grabs the aggro from every
Program
enemy,
at
meaning I
massive
can actually
honkers.
attack
I know,
back.
right?
And then I've got a HP siphon ability, but this needs me to actually aim the crosshairs on the enemy. Even if this would put the camera quite a way away from the enemy, the crosshairs are what matters for this attack. So I can AoE, then HP siphon, then spam attack, and basically just win most fights. Looking around, and I find this edging texture. It's clearly an incomplete part of the map. They likely never expected anyone to make it here. Wonder how close I can get before I get stuck. So I creep closer and... bugger. Turns out you can get that close. Alright, another respawn. Oh god, the respawn point is so far away from the quest area I was at, so I run
so rough.
all the way back. God, this takes a while. There's no mounts in this game either, so it's always running. I do consider fixing my armor as I run past the shop, but there's no point really. I'll just get a better piece within a quest or two. You know, when combat works, it works really well, and if the enemies respond and if attacks land, it feels nice. It's just so unlikely that ever actually happens with any consistency. Finally gather all the stuff and return to Pump PK, and she tells me Mackie D will now respawn faster,
Mackie
and I should
D.
go and help DK, who's down on the battlefield. DK is quite easy to find, he's by the gate, and he needs help finding willing barbarian warriors, so he sends me to find some. So I follow the quest icon, and it stops. Right, I run around, and okay, it takes me some time, but I've figured it out. Some quests need you to complete objectives within an area, but it doesn't want to make it too easy for you, so it just lets you know that you're in the general area. This is one of those times. I need to gather 4 willing programs. That means talking to 4 NPCs in the outpost somewhere. But unlike the water village, where I got sent from NPC to NPC, this time there's no guide at all. No markers above anyone's head, no visual clues, no hints, and not everyone wants to talk to you. So I have to spend 10 minutes running around the village trying to find 4 barbarians I can actually interact with. And here's an annoying touch. Some of them say no. So you get all excited, you're like, yeah, I found an NPC I can talk to, the quest can progress, and then it's like, nope, I don't want to help you. Not going anywhere. Finally, I gather all 10 and we go and assault the Red Army camp together. Once again, we need to kill 15 soldiers. While the story design may be interesting at parts, the quest mechanics definitely aren't. Here's a really annoying bug. This tough enemy is a special enemy used in a quest later, so I can't target or attack him. But my AoE will still hit him and aggro him onto me. So he starts retaliating, but I can't attack back. The only way I can not die is by waiting for my AoE to cool down and keep using it to kill him. I kill 15 regular enemies, then several superior enemies, then go back to DK and then the assault squad and oh, catapult, pathetic. Trebuchet, superior siege engine. Back into the enemy camp again, this time take down the enemy leaders and plant some bombs around the camp. The Red General is a pathetic excuse for an elite enemy and dies in seconds. The camp blows up and we are treated to this cutscene, which unfortunately doesn't really have the visual flair of any of the others. Maybe they let the intern design this one. Oh sweet, got my first back slot item. You know you're getting better when we get new equipment items. Return to Mackie D with news of the Red Army's retreat, and now we're in a safe enough position to investigate the Spirit Well. We meet Fred again by the well entrance, and I get given my first blue weapon. Ooh, new rarities. Starting to feel like a real player. Fred analyzes the well, a few NPCs join to help study some more, and everyone then gets attacked by Reapers and rogue red codes, so we fight wave after wave of enemies, and eventually we have some answers. Just as Fred is about to tell us something, we get ambushed, as is becoming the norm. I should just expect it now when talking to anyone. We fight an NPC called the Assassin, written in Leet speak, so letters are replaced with numbers, only to be told the code of the enemy was strange and they didn't completely die. Fred says the portals have picked up an anomaly at a place called Oyster House. It's an orphanage for children of the 8 Squared realm. So we run through the portal and check it out. Oyster House, the portal that it takes us to, is situated atop this lovely picturesque hill. It's a beautiful rolling meadow with wildflowers growing and a gorgeous view of the lake below. we speak to a young girl called Shiloh, who agrees to take us to the orphanage, but only if we pick 10 flowers. Of course, I'm used to doing things 10 times. Why would I not do it for you, Shiloh? You know, honestly, picking the flowers in this area, and it's just lovely. The vista overlooking the serene fields below with the ominous chess pieces floating in the sky is wonderfully surreal. I enjoy existing and gaming within this environment. Hand the flowers back to Shiloh and
Nice.
she leads us down the path toward the orphanage, and then the game lags. Quite badly. Freezes, actually. And then crashes. Oh no, this is the second crash so far. Please don't let this be an issue. I have to admit, this is the kind of thing I was scared of, finding a place in the mid to late game that's just broken. So I reload the game and, well, just watch.
Oh no. No, he's stuck.
Oh no.
Perma
It
crash.
crashes again at the same place. And because I am logged into that place, it crashes every single time I reload the game. And this isn't an issue of class or failing a quest, this is just a straight up crash. I'm 30 hours into the game. I'm invested in the game, in this video series, and this is bad. So, until we know whether there is a part 4 or not, a massive thank you to my Patreon supporters and Twitch subs who have made this channel and this series possible so far. You can support the Patreon from only £1 a month. Check the video description below for links to the Patreon Twitch, Twitter, and our Discord channel. And as always, have a great day.
Dang, that was a sad one. Did not see that coming. And it auto-loaded the part 3. It almost makes me curious if I should do part 1 and 2. School of Dragons. 1 year ago.
How to Train Your Dragon was a brilliant film with a compelling storyline, relatable characters, and beautiful animation. It entertained kids and adults alike and went on to become one of the highest rated movies of all time. It is fantastic in every way, and the School of Dragons MMO is none of these things. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. I'm Josh Drive Hayes. I've spent years playing the best MMO
Is there a part
games
4?
available. Now
I
it's
don't think
time to
there
do
is.
the opposite and find the worst of the worst. I'm going to play them all so you don't have to. Join me on a journey through the most awful MMOs I can find. Drop a like on the vid and sub to the channel for more awful MMOs, and ring the bell so you don't miss a single video. If you're enjoying the series, please consider supporting through the Patreon, link below. Today we are playing School of Dragons, an MMO based on the awesome film franchise How to Train Your Dragon. It's free, it's on Steam, and it's 139 megabytes, so let's give it a... hang on, no, go back. It's how big?
139 megabytes?
139 megabytes. Megabytes. The 45-second video clip of my Steam overlay is 300 megabytes. There's more data in 45 seconds of 1080 footage than in this entire game. Wow. Well, I suppose small games can be good too, so let's not give up hope just yet. As mentioned earlier, School of Dragons takes place in the How to Train Your Dragon world. You'll meet familiar characters and visit familiar locations. If you've seen the films, which I highly recommend because they're great, you'll notice a lot of nice references. However, if you're playing this game without that background or nostalgia, then you'll likely be able to see the game for what it truly is. The loading screen lets us know it's been 7 years since the game arrived, and I looked this up and it's been 10 years since the first film happened, and God, I feel old. First thing you notice, they've not matched the in-game cursor speed to your machine's cursor speed, so it's moving way slower than I'm actually moving the mouse. This seems like a common trait of games aimed at children. They don't bother matching your actual mouse. Quick note about children's games. I've worked with children for most of my life, and children aren't stupid. They're not dumb. Kids are very discerning and actually able to tell quality from crap. Saying something is a kid's game and expecting that to excuse bad game design choices isn't allowed. If anything, games aimed at a younger audience need to try even harder to reach a higher standard because you've got years of game design advancement to borrow from. It seems to be using music from the film at least, so I look forward to that copyright strike. Fill in the forms, sign up, and off we go. Character creation is simple but sufficient. You've got enough to customize to make you look somewhat unique, but without the needless precision of 10 million nose angles. Make your tune, name your Viking, and off you go. The controls are, oh no, WASD movement, but A and D aren't strafe left and strafe right. They are turn left and turn right. Spacebar is jump, but there's also a huge jump button to the bottom right, which makes this look suspiciously like a mobile game. I mean, that's fine, we can deal with that. I'll just pop into the menu and change the keybinds, except, oh no, wait, you can't. This is how the game is set up. You must play it like this. You can, however, choose to turn MMO mode off and play it single player. I guess that would appeal to anyone who doesn't have any other games. Let's crank the graphics up to max. I'm not expecting much from 138 megabytes, but I like to be consistent in these videos. I really hate how there's no strafe. This is going to annoy the hell out of me in time. You swing the camera around by holding right click. A slight oddity, however, is if my cursor reaches the right side of the screen, the camera will just keep on spinning, but if it reaches the left side, it just stops, and I don't know why. The first NPC we meet is Hiccup, the hero of the films. He's voiced, and is it the same voice actor? It is not. I'd argue it's actually a better voice actor. Hiccup in this game is voiced by James Arnold Taylor, famous voice actor known for voicing Ratchet from the Ratchet & Clank series, Obi-Wan Kenobi from multiple Star Wars games, and the character with the world's greatest laugh, Tidus from Final Fantasy X.
Okay, you don't need to show more than that.
First quest, Mount Toothless. Well, normally I'd insist on a romantic dinner and a safe word first, but you're a dragon. I'm not going to argue. Oh, the flying controls are awkward. This was clearly made for mobile, then ported to PC. They've just not bothered to optimize anything. Spacebar is go, shift is stop, W angles you up, S angles you down, and A and D turn you left and right. And the dragon is not camera locked, meaning no matter how you swing the camera around, you still have to steer manually. Hiccup drunkenly slides off and wingsuits it down, and we get into some action-packed mid-air combat. To shoot a fireball, you click this button. The game will auto-lock on to whatever you can shoot at. There is no way to manually aim and no fireball key. You must just click this button whenever the aiming icon appears. Grimmel, a bad guy, I believe from the third film, has trapped some dragons. We recover an axe by walking near it, chop a rope by clicking it, and open a cage, followed by phasing through the door as it swings open. Then we rescue a dragon. We get to colour it and name it, so in honour of a better MMO, I call it Deathwing. That name apparently isn't allowed. You're probably not allowed the word death, so I name it Tiamat. I show absolute dominion over Tiamat by giving it a gentle boop on the snoot, and then we're sent to talk to Mulch the fisherman, because all dragons love fish, especially the kind of fish that stay still, then just leap straight up in the air. Dragons run out of energy, fish refills this energy. Pretty simple so far. The loading screen tips do that thing where they're funny and silly, like leaping over lava. I like this. Although we've already rescued an adult dragon, we're now going to get a baby dragon too. You take a Facebook BuzzFeed-style quiz to sort out which kind of dragon you are, and then regardless of the result, you get to choose whatever you like anyway. The correct choice, of course, is Monstrous Nightmare. Can't have the name Deathwing, so I go with Not Lifewing. Clicking on yourself opens the radial menu. You access the important stuff from here. In 8 hours of gameplay, I think I used this menu once. There's another dragon attack on the island and we need to help, so we click on our own dragon and choose stable. I'm then surprised to see quite a few other players. Then a cutscene happens and a stone platform gets blown up, and honestly I'm not even sure why. This scene makes zero sense, even in what little story we have so far. Meet the headmaster of the school. He has some quests for us, and oh god, why are all the quest names different font sizes? Just have one font size when writing quest list. That's basic graphic design. Pressing M opens the world map. You can click and drag around, and you're able to instantly teleport anywhere from anywhere by just clicking, removing any real sense of journey or adventure or progression. Unfortunately, changing maps isn't great because they've not balanced the sound levels, and the waterfall kicks in way louder than it should be. Check this out. This is the actual in-game audio, not altered in any way.
Damn.
I press escape to try and bring up the menu, the same one I changed the graphics with earlier, and it's not working anymore. Escape does nothing. No menu, no overlay, no nothing. L opens your quest list, and thankfully from here I can navigate to the other important menus. The quest list is dire, but we'll get to that. Whenever you're on a quest, you have this arrow at the bottom of the screen pointing to your next objective. This is kind of annoying because it takes away any exploration or navigational challenge, but also essential because NPCs don't have names above their heads, there's no signposts, and no local map. So without this arrow, you have literally no idea where you're going or who people are. The quest arrow also cannot handle cliffs and freaks out whenever you're above or below or to the side or anywhere near or just really thinking about cliffs. So tiny dragons called hobgobblers have appeared and are being annoying. We're sent to discover why. Our arrow leads us to this sheep field which shows all the sheep are dressed as hobgobblers. The game then tells me to seek anything out of the ordinary. You're a game about Vikings riding dragons with cosplaying sheep. I don't know where the ordinary line is. Boxes of hobgobbler bait are in the camp and they're our next clue. Apparently it's all a prank by the twins Roughnut and Toughnut that's gotten a bit out of hand. Just notice that the quest arrow exists in the game and zooming in and out can make it clip inside you like you're stabbing yourself with a giant floating arrow. The prank storyline leads us to Dragon Tactics, a strategy minigame. Here's the tutorial. You've got your dudes. Each turn you can move them and then perform one ability. To move, you must click, drag, and release. Clearly a hangover from the swiping of a mobile game. There are 3 elements. Each element has a strength or weakness to another, like a triangle. Fire, ice, and poison. Not really sure poison
45.
is an element. The white glowing area around each unit shows how far they can move. Your abilities are listed as being close range, medium range, or long range. I managed to work out this means they work from 1, 2, or 3 squares away, but the game doesn't say that anywhere. Tutorial done, let's get down to a real battle. Now I love strategy games. Final Fantasy Tactics is complex and deep. Advanced Wars on the Game Boy Advance looks simple, but positioning is everything, and this is neither. It's not awful, but it's not good. It's a perfectly fine, my first turn-based strategy game. When you win, which you will because the AI is awful, you'll get a treasure chest. Then you can open more chests by answering basic primary school quiz questions. What? This doesn't advertise itself as an education game, but you only gain extra rewards by taking a test. The questions are dumb. Why do animals hibernate? Well, I know the answer it wants is about long periods of time between food, but I mean, come on, we don't know they don't enjoy the me time. We finish the minigame and free the architect, which was apparently something we were doing. He gives us some stuff, and I found another small but irritating glitch. I find a lot in these games I play, and it's because they're too cheap to hire beta testers. Opening your backpack shows this. See that horizontal sliding tab section, where you can click on the arrows to slowly shunt it left or right? Well, you can click on an icon to open it, or click and drag to slide to the next icon. But you cannot slide it by clicking on the currently selected icon. You can slide it by clicking and holding on the other icon, that's fine. But you cannot move this slider by sliding the currently active icon. Why do I notice things like this? Because I'm pedantic, that's why. Why is this hobgobbler hovering sideways? That's actually quite creepy. So Gobbler the Viking is terrified of the hobgobblers and needs us to get rid of them. We need to go chat with Tough Nut and end the prank. The arrow sends me inside the hideout, so I go inside, but that's wrong. It was trying to send me behind the hideout and it didn't update. Another interesting discovery, pressing M opens the map, but doesn't close it. You have to press escape to close it. So escape does work, it just doesn't open the menu. Talk to Tough Nut, explain that Gobbler is terrified, and he takes this to mean we terrified him, and this means that we win the prank war. That's right, ladies and gents, we are a prank channel now. School of Dragons Hobgobbler prank, in the hood, gone wrong, gone sexual, almost died, Danes were called. We hide the remaining hobgobblers in a cave because of plot reasons, and it just happens that the cave we choose is a beautiful, expansive, underground, hidden world to reference the third film. It's a giant, open, other ecosystem, and this is not how caves work. Remember, there's an entire mountain above us. Mountains normally need pretty stable foundations, maybe small cave systems underneath, but not massive open caverns. The water is just another flat texture, meaning you can clip the camera underneath it. Oh Jesus, look at that water below! It's one flat image moving at a constant speed. Now I see why the game was under 200 megs. Finish the quest and level up. There's a flash of light but no sound effect. Is there fall damage? No. The cave background is nice. The neon-coloured luminescent plants and the gusts of flying dragons look lovely. It's just a shame about the rest of it. The next quest has me jump into the water, which is knee level because programming swimming would be hard, and explore downstream. The water texture moves just faster than we run, so it's quite a nauseating effect after a while. Reach the end and I can't continue this quest path because the rest is paid DLC. I need to either be a monthly member or buy this with premium currency. 1 month's membership is £10. This quest alone would cost me 1,250 gems, and that comes in at around £15. Wow. Nothing about this quest line suggested I would hit a paywall. So I guess we're heading back to the school and starting another. Back on the mainland, I talk to the headmaster again. I accept every quest he has. The varying size text is still annoying me. Chat to Astrid. She needs help with some sort of dangerous chasm that's opened up. And then she says, "This is my fault." Yes, Astrid, you know what? I agree. That is an unpreventable natural geological phenomenon and you are a teenage girl. This is clearly entirely your fault. Astrid has a few more quests for me. I accept some of them and then she just disappears. I don't know why. Accepting a new quest automatically switches your current active quest, which switches what the quest arrow points to. So if you're on a journey and accept a new quest, then boom, you are now on a new journey. You can go back into your quest log and switch back to an older quest, but there's no way to disable the auto switch whenever you get a new one. We're then treated to this very compressed FMV footage of the movie. I follow the current quest, I see Astrid, speak to her, and get a new quest. Again, meaning the FMV we just watched is now pointless, and we're off on another journey. It's a very, very fragmented gameplay mechanic. And oh god, oh, this Astrid model has an awful glitch. There's clearly an idle animation Astrid, but there's also animated talking Astrid. And they play at the same time, clipping into and out of each other. Quick, think of a pun. Astrid, you look quite beside yourself.
Terrible.
The next quest step is to talk to Mulch, but oh god, the arrow. There's no arrow, and no minimap. I have no idea where Mulch is. I remember they were the fish guy from the tutorial, but I'm not sure where that bit is, so I just run around and hope. Thankfully, I managed to avoid having to find Mulch by just accepting a new quest and the arrow comes back. Game has some trouble running up the steps, decides to stick on a few. Should maybe sort this out, game. This quest leads me here. Seems to be a hub zone focused on mini-game-like activities. I can see the turn-based Dragon Tactics is here, along with Fireball Frenzy and Dragon Racing. We're off to Fireball Frenzy. To take part in Fireball Frenzy, you need a broad-winged dragon, which you can get by paying premium currency. My adult dragon will just about do, but the game does let me know I am using an inferior dragon. This tutorial annoys me because it doesn't have any subtitles. Now, accessibility options in-game, come on. I mean, it's just my opinion,
Swifty
but
elf.
I generally think most accessibility options in a game should be turned on by default. So Fireball Frenzy is an on-rails shooter. You don't control the dragon's movement. What you do is aim and shoot fireballs. You've got various targets worth various points. Sheep, bandits, and golden dragons, and targets of human characters you need to avoid. There are a few problems with this game.
Two
The
asterisks
pacing
better than
is
one. I
way
like
off.
that.
It moves from area to area quickly, then there's no movement at all, while the
Look at a large
targets spin
salmon.
around really, really fast. By the time you've seen a high-value target and aimed at it, it has changed. I feel it would be greatly improved if it was a slower but constant moving throughout the whole course, or the targets appeared a little slower, or didn't disappear. Sometimes the dragon's wings clip inside of the camera, obscuring your vision, but the absolute worst thing is the sound effect of the fireballs.
Let's hear
It
it.
is constant. Just listen to what playing this sounds like. Imagine that for the whole course. Once you've done some
Jeez.
solo Fireball Frenzy, you can take on another player in head-to-head mode, so I join a room and wait. And wait. And wait. And while you're waiting, you're treated to this 5-second loop of music. I wonder how many players this has to estimate a waiting time. When I was playing, there were about 60 people, so I just waited. And waited some more. Then another stupid thought. Remember in the
Am I
Eternal
butthurt?
Crusade video, I tried to play
Is
a
my
whole
butt
Warhammer
hurt?
game
Does
before
my
the
butt hurt?
matchmaking finished. Well,
I've been
here's
getting up and
another
moving.
one. Can I watch the entirety of the How to Train Your Dragon film before the game finds me a match? So I set it up. Webcam on, film in the corner.
No
old school
way.
RuneScape top right, get some high alking done. Remember, no experience waste. Got my protein bar, got my water, I am good to go. Lights, camera, action. Rewatching this film made me dislike the game even more. It's such a good film that explores the themes of belonging, tradition, societal pressure to conform, discovering your own desires and challenging accepted conventions, taking a risk and being willing to sacrifice what you once valued because you've come to accept it's not what truly matters to you anymore. It's such a good film, and this game is such a low-quality MMO. The game takes no risks, no challenges to accepted
Tres
conventions,
campos.
and doesn't ask us as players to decide what we really value. It just says, follow the arrow and play minigames. 20 minutes in, and then boom, the room pops another player, which is kind of a shame. I was enjoying the film more than the game, but then the host leaves the room. Okay, well, back to the film. A few more minutes of good film, and then the queue pops again. Then the host leaves again. Okay, back to the film, and we will wait some more. Maybe third time's the charm. The film progresses. We're treated to the epic adventure of Hiccup. Let's just look at the film and examine how bad the game is compared to it. The film introduces the main character as physically weak but mentally strong, an inventor, a smart but misunderstood young boy who doesn't fit in with the society around him, and in the game you're instantly awesome and given 2 dragons super fast and everyone loves you. You don't do anything to earn this respect or admiration, you're just given it on account of being the player. In the film, Hiccup discovers his empathy and understanding of dragons can lead the way for a new society where Viking and dragon work together. In the game, you hunt down dragons because some of them are bad. Also, you shoot fireballs at targets because that's fun. The film shows us a tightly written plot where characters hide their true feelings, keep secrets, become proud, scared, excited, disappointed, and then eventually learn to forgive and understand each other, even if they don't necessarily agree. The game has all the characters being one-note plot points. Ultimately, the film is good and the game is not. No other matches happen, and I do actually manage to watch the entire film, which is so far the best part of this review. Even though the world map in the game is big, each individual area you can visit is relatively small, made even smaller by the fact you can ride and fly your dragon around. If you have no difficulty getting to anywhere, then the process of getting there isn't challenging, and being there doesn't feel rewarding. You press R to get on or off your dragon. Do you want to see the mounting and dismounting animation?
Nice.
There isn't one.
Oh.
Flying is awkward and landing is tricky because you'll keep hitting invisible walls and the game won't let you land on any uneven surfaces. I can't do the Fireball Frenzy quest as there's no other people to do it with, so let's go do Wilderness Survival. Gobber needs me to chop down 6 trees. You do that by standing near a tree and pressing the big context button on the screen. Then you collect 5 stones by running into them. The sound effects when you collect the stones are obnoxious. Now some fish. You stand by the fishing place and press the context button and you begin the fishing minigame. You choose your bait, you cast your rod, and then get ready for fun. This arrow moves left to right. Clicking and holding reel moves it to the right. You want to avoid the red areas, so it's just a game of click the reel when the arrow is in green. That's basically it.
Nice.
You have to do this 3 times. After fishing, we get to discover the ancient language hidden on runestones, which means run up to a hill and look at a stone. Then Gobber does a really camp Scorpion from Mortal Kombat impression. You can see that my dragon is running out of energy, so I feed him some fish. Do you want to see the feeding animation? Maybe hear the feeding sound? Here you go. The game has neither. Accidentally, I fed the fish I needed for the quest to my dragon, so back to fishing. Now we're shown the dragons can start small campfires. This game has loads of mechanics, but none of them feel important. None of them feel substantial. I'm not thinking, ah yes, good, campfires. I'm glad I can do that because they've been so important so far. Finishing the survival quest sets me back to the top of the quest list, which is Fireball Frenzy, which as we've seen cannot be finished, so I have to manually change it again to Finding Mulch, which has no arrows. 2 quests we can't do. Thankfully, Astrid has another quest, so I chat to her and this cinematic plays. I'm going to watch it again to see if it makes more sense the second time. Nope, I am still confused. There is, however, a giant scoreboard in this room showing the all-time and monthly top scores. Let's check this out. The world's greatest dragon trainer is called IIXXX Dark Dragon XXXII. That is exactly the kind of username I'd expect. That name is so edgy, it's basically a pizza cutter. All edge and no point. I try for 20 minutes. I cannot find mulch. Next quest on the list is Find Bucket. This one has an arrow, so I should be able to do it. Again, no subtitles in conversation. You're really locking the hard of hearing players out here, game. So I travel to where Bucket is meant to be, run down the path right in front of me, and more paid DLC. More premium currency paywalls. This game just loves throwing up them paywalls. Leaving the paid DLC area, I find a small dragon. I click on it and Astrid's chat head shows up, even though she is nowhere around. Then I journey into the Night Light Maze. To open this door, you stand on this switch, but leaving the switch closes the door. Aha! A simple puzzle. You can drag this dragon onto the switch. Wait, hang on, there's a joke here. You open the switch using a drag-on. Inside the maze there is a small dragon, which you can run right through. No collision detection at all. Round the corner, however, I find Toothless, the star of the films. Surely he is important enough to have a solid model, to have collision. Nope. Not even Toothless gets to physically exist in this world. This whole maze is just a series of simple puzzles. For example, this is a circular room with a white dragon flying around it. If it touches you, you're sent back to the start. Nothing explains this beyond it happening, so you just run around and drop down this hole in the floor. Now it's a dodge the small scurrying dragons puzzle, but earlier the dragons had no hitboxes and were totally harmless. Now they send you back. Make up your mind about what these dragons do, game. Be consistent. This puzzle needs you to jump at Not Nightlight's parents, which also needs you to have watched and remembered the 3rd film. Then comes a platforming section. This whole room feels so old school to me. Big open room, moving platforms, no real reason for it to exist beyond video game level. For some reason, I'm getting really strong Death Trap Dungeon vibes. It's an old PlayStation 1 game which I'll be reviewing on my retro review series once I get round to that. Let's see how much effort they've put into the platforming sections. Wow. Just wow.
It's
That
hovering.
is some top quality work. Absolute tip-top quality there, people. The jumping is floaty and sometimes you just don't land. You just float there, arms in the air, like you just don't care. It's like a
Nice.
ride at some second-rate theme park. Traverse up and through the platform room and arrive at this one. Aha, this room is a test of wit and cunning. Stepping on the wrong tile makes it fall. Only the penitent shall pass. I've seen Indiana Jones, I know how this works. So I creep, slowly, from tile to tile, until I realise there is a delay on them falling and you stepping on them, so you can actually just spam jump across. Now this next puzzle is just bad game design. It's a maze, corridors leading to identical looking waterfalls, but some of them are just solid walls and others you can run through. You navigate this maze through pure trial and error, just running into each one and hoping. There is no strategy to this. The next room, however, right, I see what they've done here. So, in the waterfall maze, there were symbols on the floor, which match up with these symbols on platforms. So I'm guessing I have to jump on the platforms in the same order I found the symbols in the maze. But I wasn't actually paying any attention to the symbols in the maze. I wonder if I can just use the same run and spam jump trick to get across. Top quality puzzle designing their game. Memory is nothing compared to the power of jumping. Completing the Nightlight Cave rewards you with a small chest, then several much larger chests, but they need premium currency to open. I swear the premium currency pushing in this game, especially toward kids, is basically predatory. That was a fun diversion, but I still need to find Bucket and there's still no arrow. Thankfully, Gobber has a new quest, which means new arrow. I am never going to find Bucket. Gobber needs more stones, but on my way to find them I discover another new quest, and accepting that overrides the last and sends me back to Gobber. Fun times. This music, by the way, is a 15-second dramatic loop, just constantly increasing in tension. It's meant to convey how serious and dramatic the quest line is, but it's just getting grating. Have a listen.
Ugh, can't dodge.
We're sent
Damn,
back to the
2.2.
stables on the main island. Thankfully I can find those and shown another system. You can send any non-active dragons off on missions to find experience and loot, because clearly someone on the development team really liked Warlords of Draenor. The shortest mission is a 4-hour wait, but
Nice.
of course you can pay premium gems to complete it immediately. This game has way too many systems, but I'll cover that in a bit. Completing the stable quest links me back to the top quest, which is Fireball Frenzy. God, that is such a small thing that is getting on my nerves so much, because you also can't cancel quests. Once you've accepted a quest, you cannot dismiss it. I manually choose the next quest, Threat of the Dragon Hunters. Finally, some action. You can tell this is an action map because of the 10-second action music loop. Okay, we need to dive bomb this enemy ship and blast it with fireballs 3 times to sink it, all the time dodging and weaving while it fires volley after volley of razor-sharp ballista bolts back at us. I'm sorry, did I make that sound exciting? I was wrong. We have to click the fireball button 3 times while hovering in the air under no danger at all. After sinking the boat, we find someone's satchel, return it to them, and the music has just become beyond annoying by now. We put out some fires by shooting the cliff above them with a fireball and causing a giant sand avalanche. I'm sure that sounded cool in the writing stage, but the more I think about it, the less sense it makes. We now need to comfort some baby dragons because, I mean, we did just demolish their home in a sand avalanche. They are probably rightly upset. Then one of the NPCs says this to me.
You're doing amazing!
Am I, game? Because I don't really know what or why I'm doing
You're
anything.
doing
All your plot
amazing.
and story has blended into one giant mini-game, and I'm not seeing the reasons for or feeling the consequences of any of my actions. We're introduced to Harold. He's a wandering trader being chased by dragon hunters. The game tries really hard to set him up as some important character in the same way that direct-to-video films try and set up their villain as being someone interesting, but he's just not. Hiccup tells us there's a dangerous dragon called Triple Strike attacking things. You know it's a cool dragon because they spell strike with a Y. Hey Hiccup, he doesn't strike me as that dangerous. Okay,
You're
so dealing
terrible.
with Triple Strike, time for a dragon versus dragon aerial battle, flames and wings and teeth? Nope, we deal with this through more dragon tactic minigame. But we need to play more of the tutorial before we can continue. So accessing the dragon tactic minigame screen doesn't actually show us the name of our current quest or objective, it lets us select any of them. It's really freeform and open, and while this may increase accessibility to any part of the game at any time, it doesn't let you follow a consistent plot or show the next definitive step on your current quest. It's so open, it's lost all sense of story. I mean, at least I like strategy games, although why the stick attack does way more damage than the axe attack, I still don't know. Win more games, and some more basic science questions, get more rewards, and even more tutorials. Also, Astrid's picture looks way better than mine, because they've used the film's rendering of her, and my character is just, well, my in-game face. The questions you have to answer at the end of this game are sometimes related to the film, but mostly just random science questions. Oh, by the way, here's some tactics for the game if you ever do play. Enemies won't move until you move close enough to aggro them, and you do have some healing abilities, so you can just slowly creep forward, taking out enemies one at a time and healing until you're ready to move on to the next one. There it is, the world's only pro-gamer strat for School of Dragons, Dragon Tactics. Back in the game world, we need to distract Triple Strike, which we do by picking up some spikes and clicking them together using the context button. Another system we will never ever use again. This makes it fly away, so the next step, obviously, is to shoot fireballs at its face, and that just works a treat. He flies off and the day is saved. This plays like a kid's game where no action has any relevance to the previous or next actions at all. Hiccup has more quests for us, one of which is dragon racing. That at least sounds somewhat fun, so we head back off to
Dragon
Minigame
racing.
Central. Remember when you were a kid and you'd go to Disney games or Cartoon Network games or Flash games? This is basically that, but they've built a shitty MMO around them. The bulk of the content is minigames, the strategy tactics, the on-rails fireball frenzy, the dragon missions, the flying, the fishing, the fireball, the shooting, and now the dragon racing. The content of this MMO could have been divided up into smaller individual games, and it would probably be more fun. Honestly, I've seen more detailed games on Newgrounds. This is Dragon Racing. Fly around a very short course using very awkward controls. Fly through these small rings for a speed boost. Hit the large green rings or you don't continue. Playing it solo sucks, so I try some races with other people. But there's no sound effect for the race starting, so I am distracted writing notes and left lagging behind. Despite starting at the back and not knowing the course, somehow I win. This is likely because I am racing children. Completing the dragon race finishes the quest, meaning the arrow defaults back to, you guessed it, Fireball Frenzy. You can keep trying, game, but I am not going back there. Remember those items I won from the tactics game? Well, here's the fashion window, and the first thing I notice is that you cannot use the scroll wheel to move this bar up and down. You have to click and drag. There's a joke here somewhere. Hang on, just give me a minute. Can't scroll, can drag. Got it! The scroll's off, but the drag is on. No, hang on, wait. They've turned the scroll off, but the drag on. There we go, nailed it. Follow through some more quests and get to this quest box and the game gets stuck. I can't click yes, I can't click no, there's no back button, and escape doesn't do anything. I'm actually amazed it took this long to get to a game-breaking bug. Let's just sum up. School of Dragons doesn't have a central gameplay loop. It's a mix of loads of mini-games that aren't developed enough to be fun and systems that are so situational you'll forget they exist until the game reminds you. As for the quality of the mini-games, each one would be totally acceptable as a free child's game on a cheap gaming site, but none of them belong in a fully fledged MMO with paid DLC. The DLC and its approach to it is mean, allowing a child to play the intro quests of a plotline and then gating off the rest behind a massive paywall with no warning this is going to happen. Or hobbling your dragon in minigames because they're not grown up enough yet, or placing large treasure chests at the end of a maze then demanding premium currency to open them. I understand games are businesses, but this just makes it super obvious the point was always fleecing young kids for cash and not making a fun, enjoyable experience. If you're young and you tried this game, please realise this is not a good example of either an MMO or a game aimed at children. It's buggy, inconsistent, and the design philosophy of the game is so far removed from the core concepts of the film, it's insulting to the film to think that these two are even slightly connected. This joke of a game is a soulless cash grab. It barely relates to the principles of the first movie, and its sound design is so goddamn awful there's either way too many or way too few sound effects. Nothing here is challenging, it's filled with far too many systems, and there doesn't seem to be any real reason to do anything. It's only survived because it's riding on the coattails of something much better. It's a complete rip-off, which is why the final rating for School of Dragons is How to Train a Dragon Warrior, a rip-off film, out of 10. Cheers for watching. If you want more worst MMO ever videos or general gaming content, then drop a like or sub to the channel. A massive thank you to my Patreon supporters and Twitch subs who make all my videos possible. And comment down below with any game you think deserves the title. Check the video descriptions for links to the Patreon, Twitch, Twitter and Discord. And as always, have a great day.
Have a great day. Son of a bitch. $40 Azoth. Nice. You boys getting tired? I blend in with my surroundings.
I summon Dark Magician in attack position.
I'll be back while you guys
Dark
enjoy
Magician,
this.
attack his life points directly. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. I'm Josh Strife Hayes. I've spent years playing the best MMO games available. Now it's time to do the opposite and find the worst of the worst. I'm going to play them all so you don't have to. Join me on a journey through the most awful MMOs I can find. Drop a like on the vid and sub to the channel for more awful MMOs and ring the bell so you don't miss a single video. A huge thank you to all my supporters on Patreon and Twitch who make all my content possible. Links to both are below. Right, let's begin. Today we are playing Wizard 101. Now, I'd never played this before, even as a kid, and I've had lots of people recommending it to me, so I actually went into this one with pretty high expectations. First thing you notice is the main website is very, very colourful. This looks like something straight from the late 90s, early 2000s educational era. I'm getting very Legend of the Zoombinis vibes, but it's free, so let's make an account. Wizard 101 is all about magic and spells, so we have to choose whether we are a boy wizard or a girl wizard. This is a somewhat limited choice, guys, plus boy wizards wear blue and girl wizards wear pink. Not really pushing the boat out too much on this one, are we? Now for a name. Right. This is one of those games, kind of like Horse Riding Tales, where you can't actually choose your own name. You've got to create a name from a pre-selected bank of names. You've got your first name and then 2 surnames. This is a system used by companies to make sure no one ever makes anything rude and no one corrupts the virtue of its mostly child players. So I spend some time trying to make something rude, but I don't get too far. Eventually I just settle with Richard because it shortens to Dick, and that makes me chuckle. Next up, we have to choose a wizard type, which major element we are going to follow. You've got your standard magical schools like fire or ice or nature, but you've also got myth or death. Ooh yes, let's do death, necromancy all the way. So the username Josh Strife Hayes is taken because I honestly downloaded this before Christmas and signed up using a burner email. Then I never got round to playing it and forgot the burner email, so I'm forced to go with Josh Strife Hayes 2. The game begins, we are thrown into the character creation system and a booming discount Dumbledore talks us through it. I find this really odd because all the choices we just made, like gender, name and wizard school, we have to make again, so there was no reason to choose anything earlier at all. This overlay is a mix of charming and nursery school levels of design. These overlay icons do look like they were drawn by a child, but they are super simple to understand for any language, so I've got to give the game props for being accessible. It's very easy to see what does what. And I mean, the customization isn't awful. You can change your hair, robes, eyes, hat, all the standard stuff you'd expect. I've played worse character creators. Now we meet Hedwig, Gamma the Owl. She shouts some stuff at us, and then Not Dumbledore says some more things, and it becomes incredibly obvious that Gamma and Dumbledore are both very good voice actors using very different microphones. The audio quality between the voices in this game vary wildly. The actual quality of the voice acting is very, very good, as we'll hear, but the quality of the equipment used is just all over the shop. Character made, and we begin. Third-person action adventure, WASD movement, but A and D are not strafe. They are turn, which is a control scheme I hate. So I press escape to open the menu and remap the keys, and nope, pressing escape does not bring up any kind of menu. At least not at the start of the game, so there is no changing the keybinds. Chat to Gamma the Owl, you run up to NPCs and press X to interact, which is an odd choice of key, but okay. She explains the basic plot, and again, voice acting is pretty damn good. Also, it started raining, and there's a storm happening, and the ambient sounds and general weather effects are fine. So we head over and inside this big magical tower. Inside, we meet the evilest man who has ever eviled. Look at this dude. This is the power of art direction. He doesn't need to say anything, and you know this guy is evil. His name is also Malastare, because subtlety is not this game's strong point. This is also the moment you really realise they definitely hired professional voice actors, because almost every voiced character in this game is brilliant. I mean, listen to how evil Malastare sounds.
You are no longer welcome here. Why have you returned?
I'm here to resolve our unfinished business. Is this your latest student? My henchman will see to your little friend.
Hurry along, young wizard. Take this deck of spill cards and deal with those creatures while I tend to Malastare himself.
Don't be so sure of yourself, old man.
Run up and confront them. Be brave. I will guide you.
This is something we'll come back to often. Voice acting in Wizard 101 is top-notch. And now the game really begins and we discover what Wizard 101 really is. Because while it might look like an MMORPG, it's not. It's actually a card game. I was not expecting this at all. I came into this completely blind and I was just expecting a run-of-the-mill copy-paste MMO with small overworld sections and collect X or kill X quests, like Tale of Toast or Horse Riding Tales, but what I got was actually a really, really well-designed card game. So my geeky background is very card game.
What's happening in this
one? I play Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! And I used to play Magic the Gathering at tournament level, so the moment I saw this, I was like, yes, tactical deck building and card games, let's do this! Then I remembered how much money I've spent on card games over the years and realised, right, I can see where this is going to go to. Anyway, let's look at the card game itself. The arena is divided into 8 positioning circles, split into 4 versus 4. In a one-on-one fight, you just face a single enemy. Each turn you draw a card and cast spells. Some spells hurt the enemy, some spells heal your own health, some will power up your next attack. Casting spells requires pips, and you gain a pip every turn, so not casting a spell on a turn lets you save your pips up for better spells. It's like Magic's land system. Casting a spell makes the animation of the spell play through, and you get to watch the damage being done, and these animations are good. Seriously, they're not too long. They're just detailed enough, they're chunky and stylized, they are a pleasure to watch. They don't slow the game down too much while adding real character and depth to each spell. I like this a lot, actually. In the bottom left, you can see your HP in red and mana, which is your spellcasting power, in blue, because Diablo mastered this system many years ago and no one has ever seen any reason to differ from it. There's even a freaking unicorn spell that gives me health back. Yes, unicorns, stab me with your magical health-giving horn. Some spells apply buffs to your next attack of a certain element, or debuffs to an enemy's next attack against you, meaning stacking spells upon spells is a legitimate tactic. And good lord, look at this slow-mo centaur arrow animation. That's cool. And then there's these 3 little pigs, but they're ninjas. 3 ninja pigs. That is the sign of a good game. Look, honestly, within 5 minutes of actually playing this card game, I was enjoying it. There's a balanced resource system that slowly gets more complex over time, damage, healing and effect cards, and slick animations to go with each one. So far, this plays better than Pokemon. Come at me, fanboys. I meant what I said. One of the best parts of this card game is it embraces an aspect that you can't do with paper card games. It allows some variation within damage on the cards, so a specific attack might do between 40 to 50 damage. This isn't possible in paper as it would involve too many dice, but in a PC game the calculations are all done for you. So Wizard 101 is actually allowing very slight element of tactical randomness within a defined range. This change means it stands out from other card games. It's still tactical, but you need to choose between an attack that might kill the enemy or one that definitely will kill the enemy, and balance that choice with what card you'd rather have later. I win the first fight because, I mean, it's scripted and you can't lose, and now I try to chat, but it's mostly canned chat for the young kids. That's understandable. Not Dumbledore now tells us we did so well defeating Malistaire, this must mean we have a special destiny ahead of us. My god, I hope it involves casting Exodia. Now we begin the game proper, and the first surprising thing is how many other players there are around. Even in the starting zone, this is more populated than most games I've played on this series. As standard, a yellow exclamation mark above a character means there's a quest, because unique design is hard, and this quest sends us to stop the undead incursion in Unicorn Way. I mean, at least it's not killing rats. I'm still impressed by how every character, even seemingly minor side characters, are fully voiced. Oh, and picking up this piece of wood unlocks the crafting tutorial. I will try and look into this later if I have more time, but a quick glance around the menu shows me crafting probably involves combining stuff you pick up with other stuff to make things, probably potions or more cards for your deck. Pretty standard stuff. The spellbook is now also unlocked, which is how we navigate through every menu, and it's both surprisingly easy to navigate using the tabs on the side and remarkably detailed. Everything is chunky and easy to read, laid out nicely, and I imagine all the info you need about your cards and decks is in here. There's nothing wrong with this. I mean, it might be quite garish at first glance, but it's not technically bad. Oh, one aspect I do love is how if you open your quest journal, you can see all the quests you own, choose which one to track, and that affects the floating arrow at the bottom of the screen, and you can go back and reread all of the dialogue that's been in the quest so far. This is a super simple system that more games should have. And now I get to marvel at the combat, or more specifically, how they've managed to integrate a turn-based battle system into a real-time world. You see, the maps in Wizard 101 aren't huge. There's no expansive overworld. The game is divided into smaller sections, which are all essentially linear paths from A to B with battle circles placed along them. And when you bump into an enemy, you and the enemy will run to the nearest battle circle and begin a duel, but you can still see all the other players and enemies walking around in real time. But remember how there's 4 circles for players and 4 for enemies? If another player sees you involved in a duel, they can run into your battle circle and just join in. And if another enemy walks over, they'll be added to the opponents. Then each turn is chosen and all the spells are cast, and the battle just kind of goes from there. This, I have to be honest, is a brilliant system. You see, each enemy position has a symbol on the battle circle, so you can refer to the dagger enemy or the spiral enemy. And some player spells hit all the enemies, so you can always join in and help. Then after a fight is over, you'll appear transparent for a bit and be safe from any enemy attacks. Plus, in every single area, you can only be attacked in the middle of the road, and sticking to the paths around the side means you will avoid all fights. Once you're out of a fight, you've also got these red and blue floating orbs around the place that refill your health and your mana, so you can restock after a duel. We'll look at this system a bit more later on. For a first quest, we're told to report to a guard. Again, the voice acting is stellar, and they send us to chat to Seren. Then Olivia joins in. Seriously, they've got theatre standard actors for this. It is super good dialogue. Just listen.
Oh, hey there, I'm Saren. You're new here, aren't you? Well, I for one am very glad you're here.
Now we're given a map and wow, this is charming. This map might show how small and linear the instances are, but it also reminds me of those cartoonified theme park maps you'd get as a kid, with all the little drawings and stylized forests and rides on. This is very clearly aimed at children, because all the aesthetics are pushing it toward child-friendly. But it's got superb voice acting and a very well-made card game in it, so while it's aimed at kids in a very superficial aspect, it's not childlike in its mechanics or its technical presentation. The card game itself so far seems solid. More tutorials explains main quests shown by a star and side quests. Now to MMO vets, we know the difference, but the game is taking steps to make sure anyone new to the genre understands exactly what's going on. And as someone who makes tutorials, I can appreciate the attention to detail they are doing here. First glitch now, and I get dragged halfway across the map and thrown into combat like I was summoned from streets away to get involved in this specific battle. You know what? Oh well, the actual group combat works fine, so I don't really mind it as long as this glitch doesn't happen again. Follow the quests through, which is done by just following the arrow to the bottom of the screen and fighting whatever I need to fight or picking up X amount of objects. But unlike the How to Train Your Dragon quest arrow, this one actually updates often and is pretty accurate. For now. Completing the first quest gets me my first item.
For now.
Items can have health or mana or damage bonuses to certain magical elements on them. There is nothing too groundbreaking here, but it's easy enough for kids to follow and varied enough that tactics might eventually matter. Head back to Seren and let them know we've done a few quests, and again, I really enjoy the dry wit and the sarcasm in the voice acting.
Oh wow! You made it back! The pirates warned about a rattle in the darkness? See, this is what I was talking about. Pirates are always creepy and frustratingly vague. What is clear is that some evil magic has emerged here, and we're going to need more than a handful of guards to stop it.
The plot now takes us to find Lady Oriel, who is apparently the head of fairies and hiding in the hedge maze at the end of the map. So I run to the end of the map. Very, very linear and very, very small, but thankfully you can stick to the paths and avoid combat if you want to. This, however, is the worst hedge maze I've ever seen. This is crap. It's not even a maze, it's just an elaborate hedge cut into a pattern. There's no entrances or exits. I have a very high tolerance for children's games taking liberties with design, but to call this a hedge maze is just wrong. What you have here is some hedge. The Fairy Queen lets us know that the good fairies have been corrupted and we need to save them by breaking the bone cages set up along the street, then fighting some corrupted fairies and gathering fairy dust. Translation: interact with some objects and win some card games. They've not really gone too far from the established MMO quest convention here. Quests aren't really quests, they're just repetitive tasks. Then I hear what sounds like a rubber duck, and yep, someone rides past me on a rubber duck mount. Oh good, it's nice to know the game will sell out the wizardy aesthetic to push premium cash shop mounts. And oh, don't worry, we'll be looking at the cash shop later. I run back down the street opening the bone cages and collecting fairy dust. A few times I run into and join fights that are halfway done, but it seems if you don't contribute enough, then you don't get any rewards for being there. So if you're just trying to power through a quest, it's kind of a waste of time. By now, I'm actually getting quite strong Pokemon Stadium vibes. So far as each fight is announced, we face each other, we call forth a monster, and we get to watch a cool animation play. The fights themselves are fun. Honestly, the actual combat is more fun than the connecting travel and game. More on this later. Do the quest, head back and bump into the first major graphical glitch, where this fairy model appears twice and overlaps itself, resulting in this Lovecraftian monstrosity of wings and limbs. If this were an actual intentional enemy, it would be quite creepy, but it's not. Carry on with the quest, and turns out the undead invasion is likely the doing of Rattlebones, the evil skeleton. So we go back to Seren again, and they send us to a tower at the end of the path, and we have to fight the first boss. Now, every map plays out like this. Complete a load of smaller fetch quests within a given area, then fight the boss at the end, lather, rinse, repeat. Oh, and the boss seems to allow 4 players to enter at once, but I decide to go ahead and try and solo this. The fight itself is fine. Occasionally you, however, or the enemy will fail a spell and it will just say fizzle. This seems to be at random, and it's very, very annoying in a game based around tactics. I can't think of a single card game or tactical game that has a chance of something just failing at random and anyone going, yes, this is a good, enjoyable, fun mechanic. Beat Rattlebones and pick up some evil book. And when we go back outside, the scenery has changed because the evil influence is gone. I like this. Visual storytelling, environmental changes based on narrative events. Good one, designers. Saren now tells us to go to the Commons, which is the central hub players can all meet at. There is a quick teleport button to the bottom right, or we can just manually run there. But first, pressing Q opens the quest finder, and not only shows us the quest we're currently on, it also lets us locate any nearby quests, so wherever you are in the world, you'll always be able to find something to do. I want to finish a few more things while I'm here, so I set off to find Orion, a guard friend of Connolly who needs to be rescued. Orion is hiding in a house and wants us to go and kill Lady Blackhope, apparently a powerful and scary lich. And can we just take a second to admire this painting of a dog dressed as a naval admiral? That is fantastic. If I could furnish every house in every MMO I play with that picture, I would do. Back on the quest, the Lady Blackhope tracker sends us to another tower because designing environments takes time, so once you've got one good tower, you may as well use it many, many times. And I'm getting very strong Tim Burton vibes from the character design here. Very Corpse Bride. Beat her pretty easy and head back to Ryan. He's thrilled to know she's dead. Let Guard Connolly know, and he sends us off to another side quest to rescue somebody else. Look, when your gameplay mainly consists of turn-based card games, you don't really have that much scope for questing shenanigans. Every quest is defeat X amount of enemies or save someone by defeating a specific enemy, but anyway, off we go. The quest says I need to save Dorothy, and she'll be easy to find because she's in the house with the lights on, but clearly the designers didn't read the quest text because all the houses have lights on. They are the same house model. I only know where to go because I can follow the quest arrow. Inside, Dorothy is surrounded by a tin man and a giant humanoid dog called Toto, who also happens to be dressed like an absolute gent. Oh no. I have a horrible feeling, I don't know why, but I just think it's only going to get more furry as we play. Look, these early quests are just busy work, back and forth from place to place. There's nothing of note here, so once they're all handed in, we go off toward the Commons. On my way, I spot this badger called Brandon Mistborn. This is the most obvious homage to a fantasy author I've so far seen. For anyone unsure, Brandon Sanderson writes the Mistborn fantasy series. Now, I didn't realise it at the time, but this game is actually packed with NPC references to other famous fantasy things. See how many you can spot if you play. Here's the first mechanical problem. Opening a shop with an NPC brings up the shop window, but pressing escape on my keyboard doesn't close the shop window. It only opens the game menu, which we now have access to, and pressing escape again closes the game menu, but leaves the shop interface up. Quick design note, pressing escape should exit any in-game overlay the player has open. Now, the Commons is packed with players, and I can't help but feel the fantasy wizard aesthetic is dulled somewhat by this giant mech suit. This seems overpowered. Anyway, I'm off to meet someone called Harold, and it seems Harold is a dog and the furry domination continues. Harold tells me to take the book I found to the headmaster, but then he introduces me to treasure cards, which are super powerful one-time use cards that can help me in battle, which I need to either buy from the premium store or get through crafting using reagents that I buy from the premium store, and I can see how this is going to go. Head over to the headmaster and let him know I've dealt with the incursion on Unicorn Way, and I found this cool book. He thanks me and sends me to study some more. You'd think a young wizard would finish their training before taking on hordes of the undead, but not here. Maybe this is more on-the-job training. We now learn about potions, which can be used to refill our health or mana in battle, and they refill themselves by playing mini-games or distractions at the fun fair. Might do that later, might not, don't know. So this is the main city, and it's really busy. It's so busy, in fact, that sometimes bodies just don't load, and players are disembodied floating eyes and eyebrows drifting around, just flat faces moving through a city. I'm sent to meet some more NPCs, and this guy, Lincoln, looks suspiciously like the stork from the old Disney Robin Hood cartoon. Then we go along and meet all the teachers from all the specific schools, and everyone looks like they've been ripped off from somewhere. Also, the dog is the same model as Toto earlier. In a nice storytelling touch, however, the Death School is led by a young student because the previous professor blew himself and the school up. I go to the Death School, or in a nice design touch, as the game says, the crater where the Death School until recently used to be, and learn some more spells. Basically, you can learn spells from your own school for free to add to your deck, but you have to pay to learn spells from other schools. So you can build a deck of any cards you like, you're just limited to what you can afford in the early game. Oh, we also have a dorm room now, which is just player housing. I imagine you can kit this out quite nicely. There's also a bank chest in here too. Nothing wrong with this mechanically. The overlay graphics, especially the hand-drawn characters on the map or the menu screens, are really starting to remind me of the old Vimto-style TV adverts, or Don Hertzfeldt's animation style, the creepy artist who made the My Spoon Is Too Big video. So these are adorable, but also rather unsettling. Back to the headmaster after all of this, he sends me off to Old Town. Then we get some icons appear on the right, NPCs that want us to find and talk to them. One of them is a super suave Italian stallion. This is Diego, the PvP master. And he is so smooth, I am absolutely trying some PvP before this video finishes. There's also this NPC, a way too excited preteen girl who offers to show me around town, and wanting to avoid appearing on any police watch lists, I decline and explore by myself instead. So the main city is big. It's also not all loaded onto one map, and you have to travel between the various city sections. Now, a seasoned player will know which part of the city contains what, but as a new player, I can see the icons for the map I'm on, but have no way of knowing what's in any other part of the city. You have to actually go there for your map to update. One small technical issue. While traveling around, it again becomes super obvious just how many players this game still has. These zones, while shared, are as busy as they've ever been. There are people round every corner. My next few quests send me to talk to this guard who explains about pets, animal companions that will fight alongside you but also get tired and need feeding. Oh good, another system I need to keep track of and will no doubt be able to pay real money to improve. Then we go into this tower and battle Old Judd, the most voodoo punk looking Baron Samedi ripoff ever. While the character design in the game may be nice, it feels very derivative of characters that already exist. One great thing about fantasy is you can create your own stuff, game. You don't need to copy everything. Another issue with combat is if I'm the only person involved in the fight, you don't need the 30-second timer on my turn. I understand that in a public shared map you need turn timers for matches to not drag, but when it's just me soloing a boss, let me take my time. Card games always have multiple lines of play and tactics matter, so let me make tactical choices. Also, let me read the damn cards. 30 seconds is not enough time for this. I know I can win these early fights by just clicking basically any spell, but you should start how you intend to go on, and you should teach your players the value of time tactical choices. Oh, also we now have a pet, which cannot be manually named either and is given a randomly assigned name. Mine got Shaggy Beatrix, which is better than anything I could have come up with myself. Oh, and now you actually get to play as your pet, because you need to sneak through the bars on a gate and find a key to unlock a door which only the pet can fit through. This honestly doesn't add anything of value to the game. There is no unique gameplay element when you are the pet. It's just a small section of walk over here, now walk back over there. Nothing optimal opens up. Playing as an animal has a world of possibility and you've used absolutely none of it. Now a bit of humour here, and I love this. I have to admit the game's humour so far is absolutely my sense of humour. This bit actually made me laugh out loud. You need to crack a combination lock. So the wizard you're with tries 000-001, which doesn't work. So they try 000-002, which doesn't work, and then they get annoyed and give up. So you, as the pet, go and talk to the animals in the tower to get the code. Turns out the code is 000-003. That actually made me laugh. The pet now has talents, which are unique pet attacks that can help you in combat. However, using the pet's talents reduces the pet's happiness, and you can refill the happiness by, have a guess? Did you say paying real money? Because you're right. Another graphical overlay glitch now. I leveled up the moment this dialog box opened, and the close the level up X is covered by the dialog box, which traps me in a conversation loop. Maybe you need to revisit how these UIs interact with each other, game. Okay, by now I'm still having fun, but I'm beginning to see the flaws this game is going to have. There are so many systems now, it's getting a bit overwhelming. Remember when I reviewed League of Angels and it just throws everything at you at once? Well, Wizard 101 doesn't go as far as that, but it definitely has the same design principle. You have health and mana and cards and a second deck and one-time treasure cards and pips and pets and pet energy and food and resources and mounts and player housing. There's a lot of systems within systems here, and I just know it's going to get to a point where they all hit a paywall. I am making this prediction right now. Before I finish this review, I will, without trying, hit some kind of paywall. Let's see if I'm right. I accept all the quests local to me and set off to complete as many as I can, mainly just by following the arrow and powering through them. Storm Street is in trouble for some reason, so we are heading there. You know, for a city full of powerful wizards and professors and brimming with guards, the undead sure have made a serious dent in city real estate. What is the point of having guards and powerful wizards if they are not going to stop an invasion? By now, I'm beginning to understand the problems with this game. The actual card game, the core battling system, is good. It's not explained well enough to do justice to how good it is, actually. You never get shown what elements are on cards, or how pips interact with each other, or how to queue up spells. The mechanics of the system are sound, but the game just really doesn't show the strengths of it. Plus, honestly, the walking around bit, the travelling from place to place, that's the weakest bit of the game. This is a card game. It's a darn good card game. The bits in between the card games, they're quite boring. Now we meet Duncan. I like Duncan, he has a good sense of humour and the voice acting continues to be terrific. I played for a bit more and now it's just become really obvious how many buy systems are in this game. How many things you'll slowly run out of but be able to buy with real money. Want better equipment? Yeah, you can just earn it, or you can buy it with premium currency of crowns, or you can buy better pets, or cards, or booster packs, or reagents, or mounts, or more mana, or more item storage. There seems to be nothing in this game that isn't monetized, and just like any actual card game, more money means more victory. But forget the pay-to-win aspect for a moment and just look at this purely as a casual player. The best part, without a doubt, was joining the 4-player battles against multiple enemies. Healing your fellow players, discussing tactics, taking down groups of enemies. It did make the drop-in and play style extremely accessible, and the mid-level fights were really challenging. And fun. The quests aren't anything to write home about. Travel along a linear path, kill enemies in a card game, find more items, take them to people. You basically get the gameplay by now, and the PvE is just a series of story beats to move you from card game to card game. This is an on-rails adventure. It's just a decent card game on top of that. If I stopped following the main storyline, it's not like I could go and explore somewhere else or journey to another world. It's not a free-form MMO. It's a linear story with a card battling mechanic. Now, the main city is large for a city, but when you realise that's the main hub of the game, it becomes apparent that it's actually quite limiting. If this was a city and there was miles of wilderness around it to explore, then great, but that isn't the case here. This is where most of the game seems to be contained. Oh, and if you're in a fight and you want to flee, whether you're solo or in a group, you need to wait until it's your turn, and choosing flee drains you of all your mana, meaning you can't get involved in any other fights until you refill and find the blue orbs floating around the side. So fleeing isn't a good idea. And in later areas, enemies seem to travel in larger groups, so aggroing one starts a fight against 2 or 3. You have to hope someone decides to join in and help you. So like Wizard 101, you need to like turn-based card games, because that's the core mechanic. It just so happens that I do very much like turn-based card games. First bug with the direction arrow when the map you're on has 2 levels, because it is never quite sure whether to point you toward the person or the teleporter that takes you close to the person, and will switch between the two quite quickly. I do love how, when collecting items from the side of the road, I can just watch the other fights play out in real time and I can still see their animations. I feel if they were going to make a Pokemon MMO, this is absolutely the system they should build on. Another message from Diego the Jewel Master pops up. He really wants to see me, so I will definitely go and find him as soon as I'm back in town. I get involved in some more fights and I try and look for some more areas I could improve in the game. The pips your player has are shown as orbs of light around your battle circle, but they really need to be numbered somewhere obvious on the screen. You see, it's a beautiful UI, but it's not always the most functional, and when playing a card game, function matters quite a lot. Kill the mobs, get the items, charge the magical MacGuffin, save Storm Street. Right, head back and talk to the NPCs. It's all kind of the same, to be honest. Seems that young Susie was attacked by the Harvest Lord in Galvanost Tower, and because the game has worked out that the travel is boring and the fights are fun, you can now just use a teleporter to go straight there. It's another boss tower, which, again, I'm going to try and just solo. The tactical part of this game is good. I need to actually heal myself in this fight and power up some spells or save some pips. This isn't just a mindless steamroll victory, although I hate when a spell fizzles. Random 100% failure shouldn't happen in a tactical decision-based game. So I win, and this time I get a loot chest which gives me some cool boots, and then I'm asked if I want to spend 50 crowns to roll again and get even more loot. Oh, pay to win, here we go. Well, I've got some free crowns, so I re-roll, I get the same boots. Again. So let's examine the crown store. I click buy crowns and the game freezes. Wow, this is the first time I've ever played a game where the in-game cash store wasn't the most optimized thing ever. But while you're on the website, check this out. You can earn free crowns by taking trivia tests. You see, Wizard 101 is aimed at kids, and it seems they do actually value education somewhat. So instead of just buying currency, you can instead choose to take multiple choice tests and earn some in-game crowns. The available tests cover a range of topics from maths to literature, history or geography, and if you do well, you get currency. I can't
So it's not just
fault this.
game
You're rewarding kids for learning stuff. Good on you, Wizard 101. Well, I'm a grown adult. I think I'm quite smart. So I'll take the colours test, because I'm pretty confident I know what colours are. What? I have never even heard half these words they're asking me the meaning of. I mean, I'm not even sure if half these words are real. So, needless to say, I did not do very well on the colours test, and I earned no crowns. You know what? Doesn't matter, because at least I've got those boots from the chest, which I can't equip, because they're for ice school wizards only. Fantastic. Not only did I pay for a loot reroll, but both bits of loot I got are useless. Thank you, Wizard 101. Go back and talk to Susie about the whole problem with Storm Street. She says it's the Tempest Nexus. Well, of course it is, Susie. It's always the Tempest Nexus. God, come on, get it together. Then Christmas happened in real life, so I get to log out, enjoy a few days of not playing this, and then log back in. Now, the moment you log back in, as with almost any free MMO, you are shown an advert for the cash shop. So let's give this a quick glance over. The premium currency is crowns. You can also see on the shop screen we have some recommended items for our level. So I wonder how much they'd cost us. This Candied Ram mount is 7,500 crowns. The cheapest way to get that would be $10 and $5 of crowns. So a $15 mount. That's standard for most bigger MMOs, to be fair. But here's a feature I really respect. They actually show you the conversion rate of money you are spending to crowns you are getting, so as you buy more, you know what kind of deal you're getting. That's a classy move. I like that. Now, crowns can buy just about everything in the game. Cards, card packs, boosters, mounts, pets, even just straight up gold. Elixirs or potion boosts, cosmetic overrides, just everything. Also, this Overlord costume looks exactly like M. Bison from the Street Fighter movie, so it's the only thing I'd completely consider buying. You can buy better houses or crafting reagents or recipes. Look, this is the perfect example of pay to win. There is nothing in this game you can't improve with money, because the core game mechanic is card game. I know from experience that spending more money on a deck means you win more. I played Jund in Modern, for God's sake. Anyway, I go and find Susie. She explains the Nexus is unstable and sends us to Balestrom. We now get shown the mark and return function, which is an amazing system that should be in every game ever. You are allowed to mark where you are, then later you can spend a small amount of mana to return to wherever you marked. This deletes the mark, so you can now go and mark somewhere else. This saves so much time. And because you can only set one mark, it's also a strategic choice. This is a good system. Use this more, games. Back to the Commons we go, and we're off to the Storm School because they know a thing or two about Tempest Nexuses. To fix up the Nexus, rescue Susie, and save the street, we need an item, and all that happens in about 5 minutes just by clicking. There is amazingly no card games needed. Starts raining in the game, and the rain graphics aren't awful, so we continue on with more linear quests. Talk to a person, defeat enemies in a card game, talk to another person, repeat. I want to find the PvP, but as I don't know the map, I ask around, and to the community's credit, they're actually pretty quick at replying. I need to go to Unicorn Way. I know I've said this twice, but the amount of players in Wizard 101 is still impressive, and will be even more impressive when we see the PvP room. Clearly, the core mechanic of card game is decent enough to keep people around, and the added extras of fishing, crafting, or minigames are just the cherry on top. Finally find Diego, the Italian stallion, and he shows me the PvP arena, and it is packed. So PvP is basically 1v1 battles, but there's ranked and practice.
I left my drink
PvP
upstairs.
seasons are called ages, and the winner of a certain age gets some cool stuff. So I queue up for a one-on-one PvP practice battle, and the game tells me it's searching for someone of my skill level. So I'm expecting to fight another brand new player. I've been in the game about 7 hours so far, and I haven't spent any money, so clearly it knows I'm not that powerful. It finds me a match, we begin, and... right. You see, I have a few hundred hit points, and this guy has 5,000. My attacks are doing absolutely nothing to him. But to his credit, this guy does ask me if I need some help and offers to go questing with me to help get me some better equipment. If you're watching this, Kevin Dragonheart, you are an absolute gent. Kevin and I chat for a bit, trying our best to get around the incredibly restrictive chat filter. You can type what you like, but so many words are filtered. Eventually, he ends the duel by just smacking me for 24,000 damage. Back to the main square, and it's alive and well. This game seems to have a solid community. I spent some time chatting in the main plaza, and people seem nice enough to reply. You could pick a worse community, to be honest. And now it happens, what I predicted earlier. I accept a quest that needs me to go to Cyclops Alley. So I follow the arrow, and... nope. Cyclops Alley is a premium area. I need to either buy the area or be a monthly member to go here. Here is the paywall I predicted we'd run into. It's either going to cost me 750 crowns or to have a monthly membership to access here. Now, I don't have any problem with games having paid for areas or monthly fees. Elder Scrolls Online does it, and that's one of my favourite MMOs. My problem is with the fact the game still gave me the quest and still let me accept it. There was nothing to tell me, oh, by the way, this is a member's quest. It lets you start the adventure and then blocks you instead of telling you at the start. I decided to just return to doing what quests I can, working my way through my quest logs, switching quests to other quests, focusing on those, sometimes fleeing, sometimes draining my mana, collecting blue orbs. I join a few more team battles, but honestly, they're a really enjoyable system. They are like a break from the rest of the game. I like getting involved, I like helping, I like knowing we're working as a team, and I'm dead. So when you die, other team members can heal you, or you can just sit there watching the fight taking up a space. I know that I'm taking up a space another more alive player could have, but there's no one else around, so I just sit there and watch these guys take the enemies down. Now, after about 8 hours, there is a major difficulty spike. Up until now, I've been able to solo everything and won with some basic tactics, but now on this street, enemies are so much more powerful. They are hitting harder, and you basically need a team. Progress is suddenly a lot slower. It's at this moment the game really encourages you to buy card packs. There's also some random camera jerking, which is quite jarring, so I need to quest to get better. So my next quest takes me to Firecat Alley. So I go there and nope, another premium area. That's 2, and that's annoyed me. Having premium areas is fine. Sneaking them in like this is not. This is the same thing that How to Train Your Dragon did. You see, when you accept a quest, there's nothing to tell you it's a premium quest. There's nothing in your quest journal that even suggests it might be premium. Every quest in the journal looks the same. Every map area link looks the same. The only way you know part of the game is premium is when you actually try to go there. And for most kids, by then, they'd have invested time and energy into the quest and want to carry on. I find this practice of giving someone a quest they will eventually have to pay to finish quite predatory. Anyway, I'm 8 hours in by now, and honestly, I've not had the worst time. Wizard 101 is basically a card game. Yeah, there are some MMO elements like quest and equipment and a very loose storyline and potions and leveling up and minigames, but if you strip away the excess, what you have is a 4 versus 4 turn-based card game. And as a card game, it's honestly not bad. The large selection of cards, the various schools, the range of potential damage on a certain card, the teamwork element, even the animations are really good. Playing the card game part is fun if you like card games. But it is a card game, which means it's going to become pay to win eventually. And there's a lot of monetized systems here. And while they aren't bad themselves, like pets or mounts or housing or mana, they can all be paid for. The act of having premium stuff or membership just sneaks up on you. It will get very expensive, and it sucks. So Wizard 101 wasn't awful as a game, but does have some really questionable monetization tactics and clearly favours those willing to spend a lot of money. It's a card game with a rather large community and is definitely child-friendly, but I feel once you've played, you'd eventually outgrow it and you'd progress to other, more established and better games. Which is why the final rating for Wizard 101 is Yu-Gi-Oh! Out of 10. Cheers for watching. If you want more worst MMO ever videos, then drop a like or sub to the channel. A massive thank you to all my supporters on Patreon and Twitch who make all my content possible. If you're enjoying the series and would like more, you can support the Patreon from only £1 a month. Comment down below with any game you want me to play next, then check the video description for links to the Patreon, Twitch, Twitter and Discord. And as always, have a great day.
Okay, not bad. Free-to-play card game, but it's got shady tactics. It sucks that those things are so effective. Didn't see that guy there. Tale of Toast? Okay.
Tale of Toast is not an MMO where you play as a sentient piece of toast, and this just ruined my whole week. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. I'm Josh Dreyfus. I've spent years playing the best MMO games available. Now it's time to do the opposite and find the worst of the worst. I'm going to play them all so you don't have to. Join me on a journey through the most awful MMOs I can find. Drop a like on the vid and sub to the channel for more awful MMOs and ring the bell so you don't miss a single video. If you're enjoying the series, consider supporting through the Patreon, link in the description below. Today we are playing Tale of Toast. It's on Steam, it's free, and it's 3.5 gigs, so let's give it a go. Before the game even starts, you've got to agree to several terms and conditions, and it reminds you again and again that this is an alpha phase. It's not finished and asks you to be patient with it. You know what, Tale of Toast? That's fair, and I respect your honesty. I was going to be really pedantic and nitpick every minor detail, but if you're still starting out, if you're still learning, then I will be nice. There's an in-game microtransaction for $250. I take it back. If you think you're worth $250, then the gloves are off. Let's do this. There's only one active realm, Florin, so I guess we're joining that one. Let's talk about character creation. It is adorable. I've always said style matters more than graphics, and Tale of Toast has a very defined, very pleasing style. Imagine Blizzard got really into anime when they were a kid and started collecting chibi figures. It's basically that. This is what happens. If World of Warcraft and Sailor Moon had a kid, it would be Tale of Toast. There's no classes because you can level any stat and reset at any time, plus this wisp keeps floating around and I'm certain just to show off the lighting engine, which is actually quite nice. The game starts with a massive info dump, everything from PvP to death mechanics, and it lets us know we can reopen this tutorial at any time with F1. No voiceover, no pictures, just several pages of text explaining the basics, WASD movement, but you can also click to move, space to jump, right click to interact with stuff. Every time you jump, you do a cute little backflip. This wisp seems to be our guide. As long as it doesn't start saying, hey listen, I'll go along with that. The graphics are lovely. Everything has this super cutesy, childlike anime tone, pseudo cel-shaded scenery, stylistic characters, the in-game objects like fences and buildings are nice and clunky. It looks good. Talking to an NPC has the conversation play out in real time using the chat boxes above the characters' heads and the text box, but you can skip this and get a summary. All quests work like this. There's no voice acting and none of the quests get marked on your map. It's very Warcraft classic. We are sent to meet Thorn in Brightwind Village. The button in the bottom right toggles the menu icons on and off. You've got your standard inventory, bread box, skills, you know, the usual things all MMOs have. Can you move by clicking on the minimap? Yes, you can. What about the world map? How does that look? And oh my god, it looks like it's been hand-drawn. That is adorable. I don't know if this is a program designed to look hand-drawn or if they actually drew this by hand and scanned it in, but this is exactly the kind of thing I would have made as a kid, and it is absolutely charming. Find Thorn, finish the quest, get some boots.
Absolutely
I like how the tooltip for the item lets you know to control-click to link it in the chat. That's actually some good tooltip info. Get told to speak to some local villagers to find information about the local bandit problems, but most of them won't talk to me. Thankfully, I do see an above-the-head chat box saying bandits are in the forest. I like how when you go into buildings, the roof gets removed so you can see, but when you leave, they've not quite perfected how it clips back in, and you get a thin, floating texture first. The pedantic criticism has begun. The earlier agreement asked for feedback, so
250
here's some
bones.
more. Hovering your cursor over an icon on the minimap, be that an NPC, shop or resource, doesn't give you any information about that thing, and it should do. Have a tooltip showing who the person is or what level that resource is. The NPC Boney needs me to find some bones. God, I hope every NPC is a pun. If you think the video seems quiet, that's because there's very little music in-game. You get about 2 minutes of ambient background and then silence. Also, the NPC pun names have stopped. Jekyll's needs me to kill some forest golems. What a massive disappointment that was. Clover needs some tools found. Also, notice how the symbol for an NPC having a quest isn't a yellow exclamation mark. Nice to see some actual originality. That's good, but NPCs with quests don't show up on your minimap or the world map, and when you've accepted them, the in-game quest log doesn't show you where to go or where to hand them in. That's bad. The pun names are back! Heidi needs me to collect animal hides. I love puns and I'm not even ashamed. Combat, here we go. Right click on an enemy, then wait. You have to be within range to attack and you won't automatically run up to them, so you have to manually close the distance each time. It's just click and wait. You don't have any early skills and there's no dodge mechanic. When an enemy dies, they might drop an item. If you do, you'll hear a sound effect based on the item's rarity. I'm convinced all these effects are just someone making adorable sounds into a microphone. Also, enemies explode into purple ghosts after death. Evil mushroom. Absolutely. All mushrooms are evil because mushrooms are gross. Then I level up. Oh my god, that was so adorable, I almost melted. Can we play that level up sound again? That has to be someone just making adorable, cute noises, recording them and then using them. That is so cute. Whether you love it or hate it, that kind of production has so much heart. I wrote that part of the script while still having fun, before this game becomes the nightmare grind from hell. When you level up, you gain stat points and skill points. You can spend them how you like and reset all of them at any time for no cost. Navi finds a piece of paper by a tree and it just so happens to be the bandits' hideout. That's convenient. I can't quite remember which NPC I needed to talk to, so I checked my quest list and the minimap and the world map, and oh yeah, none of them say. There is zero in-game information about who wanted what. The only thing you can do is open your quest log and reread all of the quest dialogue to figure it out. Feedback. Have quest givers and receivers show up on the minimap. Back in the village, and the wisp tells me to pick up some cabbage. It can replenish our health. A children's fantasy game using cabbage as an early game food item. Never seen that one before. When you've got a quest to hand in, the NPC will have 2 floating triangles above their heads. At least it's not a question mark. I fall down this slope and the camera clips out of the world.
Both of them.
This will happen a lot. Collision issues with the camera in a confined space are a constant problem in this game. Also, notice how the minimap has circles around the edge where icons should be. Well, the icons don't appear until you hover your cursor over them. This dude needs some wood gathered and I am gaining quite the quest list. Okay, this sheep noise is just the cutest. Listen. Reminder, this was written when I was still having something close to fun before the game reveals its true self. The sheep make sheep noises, but not actual sheep noises. It's clearly a person just saying bar, and it is just to die for. That was precious. I got low on health and ate a cabbage. I guess it was good advice. I found the wood the woodcutter wanted. It's just lying around on the floor. While the quest list doesn't show much, it does give a recommended level. Hunting down the bandits is level 5, so I'll go and do some other quests first. Annoyingly, the scattered wood I need for the quest looks exactly the same as the oak wood model for the gathering skill. In fact, quite a few assets do repeat themselves. Credit where credit is due, that is one awesome thunder sound.
That would make my dog freak out. It's so good.
I reread Clover's tool quest. She last remembers having the tools on Patch's farm, so away to the farm we go. It's north. A lot of gameplay mechanics so far are similar to classic Warcraft. No quest markers on the minimap, no general highlighted area of enemies. It's very bare bones, but remember, classic WoW has an extensive modding community to fix those issues. Tale of Toast does not have an extensive modding community. Or a substantial community.
Fix the issues.
Or any players at all, really. Patches the farmer needs someone to pick cabbages. He can't do this himself because aggressive sentient scarecrows roam the field for some reason. How did this happen, Patches? Gonna need some backstory here. Did you do this? Did the scarecrows unionize? Did you enjoy that supernatural episode and think it was a good idea? Also, Patch's house seems to have a portal on the door. I tried to go in, but the game tells me I'm not ready yet. It shows up on the minimap as a tower, so it's likely the first dungeon. Let's kill some scarecrows, and I die very quickly. When you die, you leave a gravestone which shows other people how you died. You'll respawn at the nearest graveyard, and once you're past a certain level, you'll lose experience with every death. Oh yes, it's one of those games. The nearest graveyard is back at Brightwin, which means a long run back to the farm. Level up again. The sound is still adorable. The pigs say oink, but not a pig sound. It's just a cute human saying oink. I am melting at the adorableness. Just listen. I grind some mushrooms because I need to level up before going back to the scarecrows. The text box then tells me I've found 0.01 HPB. I don't know what that is, so I click on the icon and it stands for High Performance Blockchain. This game has a built-in blockchain cryptocurrency generator.
Wow.
Which goes to your private wallet, which is locally held on your own machine, and you can then cash out for real money. The game insists the creator of the game can't see your wallet as it's held locally. Why on earth is this here? Who is playing this for a job? How is that an effective use of your development time? This isn't a selling point. This feels cheap and gimmicky. Quick glance at the premium shop. You can buy crumbs, which you spend on what look like cosmetic items. So, I mean, it's not pay to win, but you can buy a $250 pack of crumbs. Listen, game, you can either be in early access and ask me to be patient as you improve, or you can try and sell me a $250 pack of bread. You cannot do both. You've got two narratives going on here. You've got the please be kind, I'm only a little developer story, and then you've got the buy my overpriced currency, I want to be EA story. Pick one and stick with it. 10 bat bones are needed for the next quest, so back to grinding, and I'm beginning to realise that's pretty much all the PvE is. Grinding. When you get a green drop that's uncommon, you hear a different noise. It's still just someone sounding cute, and it's still charming. Just listen. Okay, small but super annoying problem. Holding right click lets you rotate the camera around, but if you've got the map open, you can start the camera rotation by clicking somewhere off the map on the actual game, but the rotation stops when the cursor moves over the map window, despite the fact you're still holding the click button down. It's small touches like this that really begin to irritate players over time. Our quest is to kill a forest golem, 15 in fact, which I'd love to do, but I have no idea where they are. Let's try the scarecrows again, but I'll be clever. I'll use a bow and jump back and forth over the fence, flipping around like a ninja, kiting it and sniping it down, and nope, killed again. Right, new plan. Let's head back to town, run around town in a route I can remember, accept every single quest, then do the route again and just hand them all in. Another annoying issue, you can click on yourself. If you click on your own in-game avatar, it selects you. Meaning if there's an NPC close to you or an enemy within range, you'll have to swing the camera around to click on them. You cannot click through yourself. You don't need click on self as a default. You are the player. You have an entire keyboard you can map to targeting yourself. The screen space, however, is limited and vital. Do not have click on yourself as an ability. Turns out there's voice acting, but only in shops and only very limited lines.
What's on your mind?
Check the mail. There's a letter from my mum. Oh, she sent me some berry jam. Thanks, Mum. You remembered jam from a letter is my favourite jam. The puns continue. Guess what the character called Berry wants me to collect? That's right.
Hey, cutie.
Mushrooms. What quest next? Okay, time to kill some bunnies. The bunnies are suitably adorable. I wish I knew how much experience I was getting for killing them, but the XP drop bounces off the screen so quickly I'm kinda struggling to read it, and they don't show up in the chat box either. 10 bunnies have been slaughtered. Let's go and explore the forest. Oh, the game doesn't like you exploring too fast and will jerk the camera and the character back several steps every few minutes. When your inventory is full, you can drop stuff, but doing this actually puts it back in the shared overworld, which I quite like. But it also makes the item dropping sound every time you do this, which can get quite irritating. Reach level 5, get the Steam achievement Fiver, which only 13% of players have. I am almost in the top 10% globally. I wonder if I can be in the top 1% by the end of this video. I'm injured, so time to rest, but good god, even resting is annoying. You can only rest when you're not in combat, and even then you have to wait a few seconds after combat has ended. Pressing X makes you sit down and rest. While resting you'll recover HP and MP, but once you start the sitting down animation it cannot be cancelled or interrupted, and while sat down pressing W, A, S or D doesn't make you stand back up. You need to press X again, and you'll slowly stand up. Again, non-interruptible. But if you get attacked while resting, there's nothing you can do. You have to press X to stand and wait for the animation of standing to finish while still taking damage. How about a lovely swim? You can swim above the water in the bright, happy, colourful overworld, or below the water in the endless black void of despair. After combat I tried to use a healing item, but I can't because you've got to wait 10 seconds after the end of every combat encounter before you can use items. I kill all the mushrooms I need to, still not found the bandits or the golems. Maybe I'll just run west. I find the bandit camp. It looks like the Warhammer scenery I made when I was 12. It's oddly endearing. Despite the cute look, the bandits are insanely tough and are far too difficult for me right now, and I get ripped apart. I respawn, and this time do indeed lose 5% of my total gained experience for this level. That is the standard amount you will lose whenever you die, and that is decidedly less cute, and here is where the true nature of the game starts to show. See the cute looks? The chunky graphics and chibi characters, that's just superficial. The game engine, the numbers and mechanics are so incredibly grindy, this puts most Korean grindfests to shame. Also, why am I running when I'm in a menu? I'm not pressing anything. I don't know what I've done, but I'm running back and forth, glitching into and out of this vine. This lasts for about 5 minutes. So I'm running and jumping because it's an MMO and jumping while running is a rule, and I get another achievement, Spring Heals. Only 5.4% of players have this. I'm actually moving closer to my being in the 1% goal. It was a joke, but we might actually make it. Lost and miles from town. Thankfully there's a return spell. It takes 30 full seconds to cast and has a 1 hour cooldown time. I need several thousand experience points for my next level, so let's see what handing in this bunny killing quest gets me.
20?
20. 20 experience. I go outside and kill a chicken for 16 experience instantly. It's actually better for my progress to stand here grinding chickens. Another gripe with the shop interface. The moment your cursor moves over an item and the tooltip pops up, it's instant, opaque, and big, meaning all items above it get blocked out. This makes shops annoying to navigate or scroll through. Add a delay to the cursor hovering over an item and the tooltip then appearing. Or better yet, have another smaller window to the right showing the stats of whatever item you've clicked on before you buy it. I've started complaining, so I'll continue. The minimap icons that show what service an NPC provide or a skilling station are way too chunky and far too close together. This basically tells me nothing. It's too crowded. Make them smaller and allow me to zoom the minimap in further. I need some better armor to tank the scarecrows, so let's do some crafting. Blacksmithing starts with copper and goes through iron, steel, and then ends at runite. I cannot think of any other MMO that has a similar named smithing system. I need copper ingots, so I buy and equip a pickaxe. You only have one slot for equipping a gathering item at any time. I go and mine some copper. You level every skill separately, so another level up sound. It's starting to get a little sickly sweet. It's like eating pure caramel. It's nice at first, now it's just a little bit too much. One thing the game really struggles with is distance between you and the thing you're interacting with, and it will tell you in the chat box you're not close enough, despite standing right next to it. This tends to happen when you run up to anything and click it too quickly, so it's likely the game lagging behind in the object placement, and this happens a lot. Remember I needed copper. Well, you can see the mining icon on the minimap showing there's some ore, but it doesn't tell you the type, so you won't know what it is until you get there. I want to go as far in this game as I can in the 8 hours that I have. I want to show you parts of the game most players will never ever see, but my progress is slowed somewhat when I've got to spend hours grinding for crafting materials to survive. You can open the trade skills window, that's blacksmithing, crafting and stuff like that, by pressing T and see all the recipes available for stuff. For full copper, excluding the goggles, I'll need 88 ingots. Each ingot needs 2 ore, so I need to mine 176 ore. I'm on 44 and have been mining a while because each copper rock is spread out, they're few and far between, and there's no centralized location like a mine. It's just a case of running around until you find a copper rock. And every single time I find a rock, run up and click mine, I'm getting the not close enough message whenever I try to mine it. Get the ore, return to town, try to craft the ingot. I need a hammer, so I buy the hammer, unequip the pickaxe, equip the hammer and craft the ingot. Make an armor set and, well, I look somewhat better. Still need more ingots though, so back to mining and... Wait, what? It automatically switched from the hammer to the pick when I try to mine. Game, why do you have this system? Let me break it down for you. The purpose of having a single skilling item equipable at a time is to force a player to change before starting a new skill. It's not a fun gameplay mechanic, but it is at least player input controlled. If you just automatically switch to whatever item is needed for that skill, provided you have it in your inventory, then there's no player input and there's no point having a skilling item slot. It's functionally no different than just having it be used from your inventory, so I ask again, why is this system here? I am determined to complete this level 3 quest. I will not be defeated by a level 3 quest. The game hasn't played any in-game music for about 20 minutes now. It's just been ambient, cute animal and item drop sounds. I'm back, bitches! Yeah, that's right. Fully armoured up. How'd you like me now? Using my skills as a tank, I take the scarecrow down and I find the lost tool bag. Patches still needs 20 cabbages though, and I can only collect them by clearing most of the scarecrows out. Maybe ranging will help, snipe from far away, and I can reset my skills for free so there's no trouble trying ranging out. But this is the skills page. You've got offensive skills up top and passive skills down below, divided into the 3 columns of magic, melee and range. To put points into the higher skills, that's skills further away from the central line, you need a certain amount of points in the lower skills. Pretty standard stuff so far, but you can't level up the basic ranged passive skill. It's just red and unclickable. You can't
Hmm.
put any points into it, meaning you can't level up range passive skills at all. This oversight basically means the ranged skill tree is useless, so I guess we're going with melee. Turns out melee does a lot better. Remember the 10-second wait period after combat before an item can be used? Well, that's wrong. It's actually 3 seconds. They just forgot to change the in-game text from 10 to 3. I tested it many times. After the game says you must wait 8 more seconds, you can actually use an item then. Every time. Another small thing, but there have been a lot of small things so far. And if you think I'm being harsh, please remember, there's a $250 premium pack. Oh, quickly as well. Talking about small mistakes, remember the skill page? I checked it, it's wrong. Some of the passive skills are in the active section and vice versa. Just a small thing, but you might want to sort that out. This is a 3...
Alright. We'll finish the rest of this later. I am fucking tired. I just burnt out of energy. Oh, it's been 14 hours, that's why. Alright, I'm out. Thanks for being here. Bye.